like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen some people do it well, but what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we're going to have a very interesting conversation. Should go well. It should be interesting. Over here at the Roger Report Live, I take on the topics that other people are afraid to, and I show people that it's okay to talk about this stuff. It's okay to talk about this stuff. So, shout out to all the other content creators who hear what I say, and then they do some version of what I do. Yeah, I ain't gonna say they're gonna do it as good as me, but shout out to them if they can. Keep on trying. Shout out to all the people out there. I appreciate you. Okay. But we're gonna get into this one, y'all. Today we are going to talk about just the tip. A phrase that has been uttered on many a day in many occasions, and then led to many a thing. Heck, even many a person. Okay, many a people. Okay. And sometimes all you need is just the tip, man. The tip will take care of the rest. Sometimes if you could just make something happen with the tip, the rest you handle. But that's what we're gonna talk about today, y'all. Now, before we get started into this too heavy, I want to take a moment out, to give props where props is due. First of all, I want to say You know what? Shout out to all the people that give me views because I do appreciate every single one of y'all. I don't take nothing for granted at the end of the day. And if y'all know anything about me, y'all know I lost a channel or two, so I don't take anything for granted. So shout out to all the people who give me views. Shout out to all the people who hit the like button. I know I be just about begging y'all to do that, but I do appreciate everybody who does actually hit the like button. Of course, if you haven't done it, hit the like button now. And keep in mind, y'all, it doesn't make a difference how old the stream is. Just hit the like button. I don't care if it's from 98 years ago. Just hit the like button. Okay. Shout out to all the people who put comments in after the stream. I appreciate that. It definitely helps with the algorithm. And I definitely try to address the comments, y'all. I do the best I can to get to them as quick as I can. I know I've been a little busy lately, but I'm still, I get at all the comments, y'all. I do try to get at all the comments. And shout out to the people who go above and beyond. Because we have people who do that regularly over here at the Roger Report Live. And y'all, I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. Big or small, I appreciate it all. Okay, big or small, I appreciate it all. So shout out to everybody who gives financial contributions on this channel. Okay, I definitely appreciate you. Definitely appreciate it. And I got to say, shout out to Tony Misty Reacts. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, and let me give some shout outs to some of the first people to check in. And y'all know how it go. Over here at the Roger Report Live, the first person check in is a covenant spot. Okay, and I appreciate people being in that covenant spot. That lets me know you rocking with me, okay? That lets me know that you're truly rocking with me, and I appreciate that big time. And you know what? Here's one of the people who rock with me the most. My main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable, is in the building, and he is in the position we like to call the Highlander of today's stream. So shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. We got him as TM Bogans today. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that, but we gonna rock it with it. We gonna rock with it. But shout out to you, brother. Glad to see you in the building. Glad to see you in the building. Of course, appreciate you for all you do. Real talk. Shout out. Shout out to my main man. I had to like this Trill as Trail. Okay, I ain't cursing, y'all. Trill as Trail is representing hashtag long and habitual line steppers, hashtag Negroes in the wilderness, hashtag dignity over vagina, hashtag Al Gore's babies, and my personal favorite, hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. I don't know what's going on with the names, but shout out to you. We got my main man. We got Kevin CD Forever. Okay, y'all must have been on the stream that I ain't see last night. Something going on. But shout out to you, brother. We got Music Man 1982 in the building. Glad to have you. We got Love It Main 1 in the building. Are we pulling a practical joke or something? What's going on? Shout out to Kotaro New 510. Good to have in the building. Shout out to Patrick Saint is in the building, of course. Good to have you. Good to have you. We got what's his J Sarp 1310. What is going on with the names today? I don't know. Y'all pulling something. Y'all must be pulling something. Okay, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. We got Floyd Thompson 9503 in the building. Afro National 2340 is in the house. Good to have you, brother. Shout out at Brother John 350. Good to have you in the building. Trust is in the house. Always great to see you. Always great to see you. Machiavelli 713 is in the house. And man, with these accusations, here we go with these accusations saying I stole all his beaches. I ain't stole your beaches, man. I ain't stole. Hey, man, your chick chose me. You know how this go. No, I'm kidding, y'all. Of course, I would never do such a thing. I would never do such a thing. But shout out to you, Machiavelli. The God, Gold P said, what's going on, my brother? What's going on? Glad to see you. We got Bruce on way. 9553 in the house. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. We got my main man, the Passport OG, is in the building. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. And shout out to you for the shout out, because I peeped them on your channel. We got a nice, what was that? What was a pimp named Trump had a nice contribution. I see what you did with it. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Good, and keep up the good work, my brother. Keep up the good work. You definitely do good work over there, Passport OG. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, y'all. Now we gonna get into this, okay? What we gonna get into this, y'all? We gonna talk about just a tip. Now, I'm gonna say a lot of stuff goes on with sexual context and racism. All right. And a lot of folks blame black men for how they handle racism. You know, people make this whole push, y'all, about don't blame the victim. When people say stuff like that or try to come up with these rules people should mentally follow, you ever notice how they don't apply to black men? You ever notice that? Don't blame the victim, a narrative pushed by many a person. But it don't apply to black men. Okay. Notice white folks blame black men for racism. Black women blame black men for racism. Black men ain't pushing no racism. You don't see us doing that. Okay. You don't see us doing that. But and a lot of racism does boil down to sex. Okay. It is one of the biggest reasons for racism. It has a whole lot to do with sex. But I do think, we sometimes we need to have some real discussions because there's something going on in America right now where if you're extremely successful black man, they're coming after you. And they will use sex to come after you. Okay. We've had very recent examples. Okay. Now, am I saying black men don't do anything wrong? No, I'm not saying that. There's some people who can get caught up in some mess. Now, I did notice, long time before it happened, y'all. Because unfortunately, I've lost channels, and I can understand the powers that be may not necessarily want some of that content out there. But way before Sean Diddy Combs found himself arrested and in jail, okay, I say y'all, they going after this man. The man had been in the news like every day for 6 months. It was a public lynching that a lot of people didn't even recognize as a public lynching. A lot of folks did not recognize that as a public lynching. And I did something about it. Okay. I put up some content about why that man was just out there being publicly lynched for about 6 months. And that's 6 months that I was aware of. Obviously it started happening before I was aware of it. And, it wasn't guaranteed that I was aware of it the first day or anything like that. But the man was getting harassed for 6 months. No crime, no charges. Eventually they make some announcements about, him, they made an announcement about him paying, I think it was $30 million to Cassie. That's when I kind of found out what was going on. So obviously stuff was happening before I found out about it. Okay. Is what it is. Now, eventually they released a tape, y'all. They released this tape. People had a reaction to it. People thought it was something. I covered that. And you know what? That recording, it was him and Cassie. Now, this is him and his woman, y'all. This is him and his woman. Him and Cassie was at I think it was a hotel. Cassie stole the man's phone. He went out, he basically went after her and handled his business. Now, when they leaked that footage, they said the footage was so old, it wasn't even admissible anyway. And what did I say? I said the reason they put this out is because they gonna try to get this man convicted on something, and they don't have nothing. That's what I said. They don't have anything. Now, eventually, Diddy was arrested, and Diddy did go through a process, and Diddy was convicted. Now, I'm going to say this, not that I tuned in every day to the trial because I kind of knew how this was going to go. So I didn't tune in every single day. I can admit that. Okay. Now, what happened? Well, as y'all know, they didn't get him for the more serious things, but he was convicted for trafficking. And I know some people ain't even thought about it yet. Why was Diddy convicted? Because according to the stuff that was coming out, Diddy did use some professional escorts. Diddy was, off in the corner watching people do their thing. He was messing with Cassie, but he also watched Cassie take pipe from other men who were escorts. Now, the escorts was going beyond escort duties because they was getting it in. We know they was getting it in. It was admitted that they was getting it in. And folks took advantage of this situation. And I sat there and I just thought about some stuff. I just thought about some stuff. Because when Diddy got convicted, which I figured out, way in advance that he was going to get evicted, because when I saw the man in the news for over 6 months and he wasn't even charged with anything, I said, okay, they are constructing a way to get him convicted. That's what they're doing. Okay. Now, it ain't like Diddy the only guy who goes through this type of stuff. I'm just showing what can happen to you, especially when you're a very rich black man. Okay. Now, the videotape was too old to use, and a lot of people just, hey, we going to convict this nigga anyway. That's all it is to it at the end of the day. We going to convict this nigga anyway. And I saw that, I knew that's what the plan was. They're going to convict this nigga anyway. So now when they finally charged him up, okay, when they finally charged him, and you know what? Shout out to my main man, Passport OG, y'all. He done dropped $15 in the Cash App, y'all. He said, and Diddy and Diddy, excuse me, Diddy all in your video text. Now, shout out to Passport. I'm just looking this up, and you know what? Diddy is all in the video. Because I'm definitely covering some of what happened to Diddy. Now, I don't know how you knew that, but you're right. You absolutely right. Okay. That's what OG calling. You definitely right, because I'm definitely talking about Diddy. And this is the thing, y'all. This is the thing. I understand there are laws, and I understand there's rules to engagement and things like that. And then there's laws that shouldn't even be laws. Then there's crimes that people go after that you shouldn't even went after and all this type of stuff. Now, I have to, use my thinking cap, and I look at the Diddy situation. And again, Diddy got convicted of lesser charges. And his lesser charges revolved around trafficking, transportation across state lines for basically for buying sex, paying sex workers to move across state lines. He that's what he got convicted of. Now, Diddy a black man, and Diddy a rich black man. He's a very rich black man. All right. Now, what did Diddy do? Diddy hid off in the corner. Okay. His trial let out some bizarre information, especially when it comes to black folks, because Diddy was engaged in activities that black people don't typically involve themselves with. Now, I'm going to say there are some people when you get rich, I'm not going to say it's peer pressure, but people want to be down. Sometimes you start doing crazy stuff because you hang around people who do crazy stuff. And Diddy's rich enough to start hanging around people doing crazy stuff. And I've said time and time again, and I know a lot of people don't take it serious. I know y'all don't. I know you don't. I know you don't. Okay? But if you think about it, it makes sense. A lot of times black people's problem is overexposure to white people. Okay. We started doing stuff from them. We started picking up habits from them. Now, I'm not saying Diddy did something wrong. Diddy had some freak offs. They made it a point for us to know that Diddy was out here with all his baby oil, you know, baby oil all over the place. And they wanted us to feel like Diddy did something wrong. Okay. And you know what? It worked for the people in the position of power. It worked for the jury. They made people feel like Diddy did something wrong. Now, what did Diddy actually do wrong? Because Diddy was in the cut, y'all. Diddy was hiding off in the corner. Sometimes, sex workers would come in there, or the escorts, however you want to label it. They came in, they did their thing with Cassie. Diddy was just hiding off in the corner. Some of them didn't even know it was Diddy some of the time because Diddy be all dressed up. Okay? All right. It is what it is. They only wanted to come at Diddy with so much stuff because I'm going to say Diddy more than likely. We know Diddy had all types of recordings. And the thing is, who he got on the recordings, could you really go after him with certain things? Because if you use the recording, who going to be seen in the background? I ain't saying who will be in the background, but if your mayor's in the background, if your comptroller's in the background, if judges are in the background, it can get real tricky. It can get real tricky. So what did he do? Because according to the information, Diddy out here watching. Okay. For the most part, he out here watching. Who's setting up stuff? Diddy wasn't setting up stuff. Diddy made a huge effort to make sure that his personal finances and his company finances were separated, and both of them were separated from all the stuff that was going on. Now, shout out to Brother John 350. Appreciate you, my brother. He comes through with the $5 cash app. Thank you very much. He says supporting your work. And I'm going to say thank you very much, my brother. So shout out to him and Passport OG. And I'm going to say, yeah, thank you for helping me get off to the good start. I appreciate that, y'all. I appreciate that. Thank you for helping me get off to the good start. Appreciate it. Okay? Now, it means something to get something in the first half out, y'all. It means something to get something in the first half out. Because, I'm going to cook. But sometimes I ain't even got the skillet warm yet. You know what I'm saying? And they put something in before the skillet even warm sometime, but I'm gonna cook, that's for sure. Now, I'm thinking of this. So did he be hiding off in the cut and watching people have sex? Now, this is what I'm thinking, because I'm not as skilled as some of y'all out there. I may not be as quite a genius as some of y'all out there. I'm sitting there thinking, like, when did watching people have sex become illegal? When did that happen? Because I missed it. Okay, I missed it. It ain't like Diddy broke in somebody's home and watched them have sex. Because, see, the breaking in the home, that would be the illegal part. Okay? It ain't like Diddy forced somebody to have sex. See, when you force it, that would be the illegal part. But just watching people have sex, especially when his own woman is participating in it, how that become illegal? Okay? And you know what? It's a very slippery slope, y'all. It's a very slippery slope because you got all type of baby oil all over the place. So it's a super slippery slope. But when did being a freak become illegal? I missed that one. Okay. Now I'm speaking on Diddy's behalf because according to Diddy, I ain't gonna never call myself a freak again. It's over with for me, y'all. It's over with for me. Me calling myself a freak after what I heard about Diddy, yeah, that we ain't even in the same. We ain't there, brother. We ain't there. I thought I was coming off the top turnbuckle some of the time, at least some of the time. Found out I wasn't even in the arena. I wasn't even in the arena because they doing crazy stuff. They doing crazy stuff. I thought being a freak could be me and her. Well, being a freak mean me, you, some other folks, all kinds of stuff. I thought just me and one lady, we could get free. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But my mind has been blown on that one. Okay. But when did it become illegal? Okay, so Diddy engages in sexual activity that I do not necessarily approve of. Do I necessarily want to involve myself in? I don't necessarily want to get it on camera or any of that type of stuff. But when did it become illegal? Okay, when did it become illegal? He is a grown man. He live in America, whether we like it or not. He does have a right to engage in sexual activities that would make some people uncomfortable. Okay. And hearing about his episodes with Cassie, where he just off in the cut, and Cassie's the one actually taking part in the sex. He just watching. Okay. Cassie is taking part in sex with escorts, and he's just watching. Cassie is making arrangements for escorts to come have sex with her. He's just watching. Cassie is paying stuff with her money and not his money. He just watching. Now, I don't know how he got convicted on trafficking charges when Diddy ain't flew nobody out. See, we know we laugh at that term. Somebody said flued out one time, and it's kind of a joke. We laugh at that. Ain't nobody been flued out by Diddy. He was convicted for trafficking, though. He ain't flew nobody out, but he's convicted for trafficking. Diddy ain't get in no car and drive somebody back, but he got convicted for trafficking. Okay. Diddy ain't hired no buses to put people in so they can come across state lines, but Diddy got convicted for trafficking. Now, I'm going to say this, y'all. Now, they gave him a 3-year sentence. Now, he got time already served. So, I'm thinking they playing with the system, because there's two ways you can kind of approach it. You can approach an appeal. You go through your appeal process, but if he only got 3 years and he already has time served, would his appeal even go through before he's already out? And is this just a way to keep him from not appealing? So it'll just stay on his record because he let it go. Because by the time I appeal this, I'll already be free by the time I get this over with. So ain't no point in doing it. That's what I'm thinking. So it'll stay on his record. Okay. Now shout out to my man Trill as Trail, because I'm not cursing, y'all. He say he got convicted because when they want a nigga, they'll get a nigga. I'm gonna kind of have to agree with that one, y'all. I'm gonna have to agree with that one. I'm gonna have to agree with that one, because I just don't see how you can get convicted for trafficking and you ain't helped nobody traffic squat. Okay, you ain't helping move a person nowhere. So people engaging in sexual activities with escorts / prostitutes. So you know them, but you get convicted. So you watch them engage in their sexual activities, but you got convicted. Like, it don't even make sense. It don't even make sense. There's a lot of irrational people out here, y'all. And there's a lot of stuff pumped out here to get you thinking irrationally. So now I'm going to say, shout out to Hugh Hefner, right? Hugh Hefner, white guy. Okay. Hugh Hefner always had some Playboy bunnies around. Okay. Hugh Hefner was rich. Okay. Hugh Hefner had all the holes Hugh Hefner wanted. I couldn't tell at all that Hugh Hefner was lacking on holes. And y'all say whatever y'all want. You could say he wasn't that good looking of a guy. You could say he was old. You could say a lot of stuff. Maybe he was a suave young man, back in his day. Maybe he was suave. Maybe he was a nice looking young man for a white guy, whatever the case is. All I know is I know the old Hugh Hefner, right? I know the Hugh Hefner that I'm not gonna say he's been through some struggles, but I know the old guy where I knew it was less time in front of him than it was behind him. That's who I do. Maybe he was a charming man as a young guy or something. I don't know. Maybe the lady swooned. I knew the old Hugh Hefner. Okay. The old Hugh Hefner always had some hoes around. Okay. It just is what it is. Okay. The Playboy bunnies and all that, he had his hoes. So Hugh can have hoes, but Diddy can't have no hoes. Is that what? I mean, like, I don't get it, John. Hugh can have hoes, but Diddy can't have no hoes. Is that what we doing? And I'm gonna say some black people have been a little funny about this because it's like they don't like Diddy no more. Diddy gave you all these hits. Take that, take that, take that. We done laughed with Diddy for years now. Cause it ain't like we made fun of Diddy like he wasn't somebody. Diddy was a great inspiration for a lot of black youth. He inspired me myself. I saw the way Diddy was getting stuff done. I'm like, yeah, this is how black men supposed to move. Real talk. But now, all these years later, Diddy can't have no hoes. Is that what we saying? Now, look, I'm a very pro-marriage person. I personally don't want to see people with a bunch of hoes like that. Okay, I'd rather you get you a nice wife, settle down, have a family, build something for the future, all that good stuff. But if I remove the morality of the situation, because I know everybody don't believe in the stuff I believe in, why can't Diddy have no hoes? I mean, real talk, why Diddy can't have no hoes? What did he do that say Diddy don't get to have no hoes? Diddy rich? Diddy want to be out there like that? I don't think it's good for his soul, but that's what Diddy want to do. Diddy didn't force nobody to do anything that he want to do. Okay. I didn't see the problem. I just didn't see the problem. Maybe y'all saw the problem, but I didn't see the problem. Because Diddy was a black man. He's a very accomplished black man. Now, we could say something about how you think his accomplishments came and all that type of stuff, but Diddy's just an accomplished black man. Very accomplished black man. Did the whole bad boy thing, made that happen, in a way, but I don't even know that he had a dozen really big artists. I'm not going to, he had some artists, but did he even have 12 big artists? But he made that whole bad boy thing work. And he stretched it out for years. Okay. When his top rapper died, he stretched that out for years, decades even. Okay. It is what it is. Okay. But Hugh had hoes the whole time. Now, I don't know what y'all know about Hugh Hefner when y'all was growing up, but let me tell you what I knew. All I know is Hugh had the hoes. That's what I knew. Okay, that's what I knew. He had the hoes. This old white man got all these hoes. That's what I knew about him. Okay. Eventually, I found out, yeah, he's associated with Playboy and all that. Okay, he stayed at the Playboy Mansion, all that good stuff. But he a white man with some hoes. And I didn't think it was a big deal. You know, I didn't think I didn't think it was that big a deal. I mean, that's the way he wanted to live his life. Okay. So why can't Diddy have no hoes? Okay. Now there's some people say, well, Roger, you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't say that. Diddy is a convicted individual at this point. He's a convicted black man. Yeah, I did hear he was convicted. Why he was convicted, I don't have no actual clue from a legal perspective. Because Diddy ain't fly nobody out. Diddy ain't bust nobody in. You don't bust nobody in. You don't fly nobody out. How you convicted for trafficking? There's times where he didn't even engage in the sexual activity, but they got him for trafficking. Who did he traffic? They couldn't tell me who he trafficked. They looked into some stuff. They said Diddy Company wasn't involved. Okay, cool. All right, well, who made the transactions for the escorts? Well, it wasn't Diddy. How did he get convicted? He didn't do none of the stuff that makes it explainable why he got convicted. Now, my thing is, people gonna do what they do. I understand the country I love, because I ain't gonna never say this is a perfect country. All right. But Diddy is a free black man. Why he can't have no hoes? I'm not even saying he should have hoes. What I'm saying is why he can't have no hoes. He a rich black man in a supposedly free society. He done did his part. He done made his money. And if escorts want to come sleep with his woman, who am I to trip about that? Remember, he was on again, off again with Trey, what's the lady name? Cassidy, for years. 11 years, they say he was on again, off again with her. So did he watch his girl take pipe from escorts? I don't see what the problem is. It's his woman. If it was my woman, there would be a problem if she taking pipe from escorts, because I don't want to pay for that. Okay, I don't want that part of my bill. Okay, I don't want to be associated with a woman out here taking pipe from escorts. But if that's what Diddy want to do, why would I be mad about that? And I don't understand why he's convicted. And they ain't say nothing to Hugh. They ain't say nothing to him. Now, Hugh Hefner always had some young girlfriends. I remember that about Hugh Hefner. He always had some young girlfriends. I wouldn't turn them down. Not none of the ones I remember. They ain't nobody I seen Hugh Hefner with that I would have turned down. I don't remember no chick that I would have turned down. Okay, it just is what it is. So that means he was rolling right. He rich, Diddy rich. I don't see what the problem is. Diddy had a girlfriend that I knew about. Hugh Hefner had girlfriends I knew about. Now, I don't know if Hugh Hefner had his girls, taking pipe while he was in the next room. But Hugh Hefner being a white man at Playboy Mansion, I'm going to assume that did happen. Real talk. It sound real white. I'm going to say that, y'all. It sound real white. Yeah. So I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But let me slow down right now, because we just at the tip of the iceberg here, y'all. And let me give it to Gold P real quick. Let's see how Gold P gonna come at this. Go ahead, Gold P. How you doing, brother?
Good early to you, brother. Good
hey,
early.
brother. Same to you, brother. Same to you.
Good early to everybody in the chat. What's happening? What's happening? Look, man. I get your point as far as Hugh having broads and Diddy not being able to have broads. I mean, this is I mean, when you do it a little bit, the difference was that Hugh didn't really stunt like Diddy. I mean,
stunt?
Nah, Hugh kept it low. He was, a celebrity type, but he didn't. He wasn't doing it like Diddy. Now, hey, everybody to each his own. They flash how they want to flash. I mean, I came up in Hugh. Look, I was reading Hugh's. I was 9 reading his Playboy books, man.
Just for the articles, right? Just for the articles.
I was, hey, man,
I get you. I'm just saying. Pretty sure it was some solid writing in Playboy. I'm pretty sure. I heard about these articles for years now.
I'm just saying, brother. And Hugh, he was a cold piece, man. He had some bros, man. He had some bros. I just think that to Trail Bentley's point, when they want to get a brother, man, they want to get a brother. Because I'm with you on it. I don't see, everybody got. Look, we know not only Diddy, but we know a lot of pimps have been arrested and thrown in jail, and all they doing is shopping the product.
Well, see, this is the thing. They came up with that trafficking law in order to get an actual pimp. See, you say pimp, but they came up with a trafficking law to get the pimp. You see what I'm saying? So I can't even trip about that. They legitimized, they came up with something to say, let's get the pimp too, but let's get the pimp in a legitimate way. So if you're moving hoes around for, so they can perform prostitution services, technically you are now doing something illegal.
Yeah, trafficking.
But when now I'm not saying I sat in and watched every single thing that was going on in P. Diddy's trial, or Diddy's trial, I should say.
I didn't either.
But when you hear the reports that came out, the one thing Diddy didn't do was traffic anybody.
Right.
He didn't even have somebody traffic somebody on his behalf. He didn't give anybody his card information and say, pay to have these people traffic. He didn't do none of that. He was detached from the trafficking altogether.
Do you think that that's how they wanted to connect him in a way? Because he was brought up in RICO, right? It was a conversation about RICO. So do you think they tried to connect that in a way? Because I don't see how one person catches a RICO charge. I don't understand that.
Well, I'm gonna credit Diddy for having the good sense to make sure none of his money was used and none of his company's money was used for anything. Even though he's just doing what grown people do.
Right.
I don't see where he committed any crime based on all the information I've seen. And don't get it twisted, y'all. People presented stuff in a way that you would think Diddy did something wrong. But everything I actually heard about, and this is something I try to advise y'all to do from time to time, don't focus so much on the presentation. Focus on the actual information.
Right.
The information I received, I couldn't understand where Diddy actually committed a crime.
Go below the surface. Go below the surface.
Yeah. The presentation say he terrible and he did 1,000 things wrong, but the information didn't.
Well, and that's why I look. If this what I keep saying, if this was a happenstance, then it might be a conversation. But when you are familiar with history, and especially when it comes to brothers, man, I mean, you lose interest because we know that historically speaking, brothers have been positioned this way many times over, and this was why I couldn't really get into Diddy. Now, am I saying Diddy is not guilty of certain things? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying historically speaking, this is out of the playbook.
Well, no. I am saying I don't understand what he's convicted over.
Okay.
Because I mean, they didn't get him for the big stuff, which they shouldn't have. So that's legit. But I do remember, I'm probably going to look it up again, the exact thing they said he was convicted over, but I remember it was like trafficking stuff. And Diddy ain't trafficking nobody. That's like the thing we clear about. He ain't traffic anybody. Now, you could say his woman trafficked somebody, talking about Cassie. You could say she trafficked somebody. Because they said she used her card information for some of these transactions. You can say she trafficked somebody if you're going to say somebody trafficked. Okay. The escorts got paid. He ain't pay nobody. And then when you hear the crazy stories, he just chilling off in the cut. He covered himself. He don't even got people knowing that it's him. But he don't want to get convicted. Like it doesn't even,
you remember,
it don't make any kind of actual sense when you think about it. How do you get convicted for watching people have sex and nobody was forced to do anything? It's not like you kidnapped the people. You just watching folks have sex.
You remember, I don't know if you know this movie. It's a movie with Clint Eastwood. And Clint Eastwood, I wish I can remember the movie, but there was a political a person who was political, who he was robbing because he was a thief, right? Clint Eastwood was a thief.
Well,
And,
I definitely didn't see that movie because I don't remember that plot line at all.
well, okay, I'll tell you, and he went to this house to rob this guy's house, and there was the mirror. You know how you had a see-through mirror? You could sit in there and watch other people watch people. So I guess the person was in there who would watch people. I guess Clint would be the guy who watches the political person have some action with the girl. He kills the girl, right? And next thing you know, Clint Eastwood makes it out of there. I know you're struggling to find out how, see how this is connected. What I'm saying,
yeah, I'm truly am.
Okay, I'm getting there. My point is,
because now you're gonna waste the whole movie on me that I ain't seen, that I might watch. I might have watched one of these days. I watched some old film, but you want to ruin the movie for me and everything. Well, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just making the connection that when people see certain things, like with these figures, behind there's things that's behind the mirror, man. That people are behind the mirror, looking at Diddy and looking at what the history of Hef and saying, hey, we can't let Diddy run like this, man.
It's legal to have sex in this country. That's not an illegal act.
You're right.
Now I can see if he was watching people get murdered and never said nothing, and maybe you can come up with a lot of stuff and something like that. It ain't illegal for people to have sex.
It's not. You're right. It's not.
Even if it's 1,000 ounces of baby oil in every session, it's still not illegal.
Unless it's Diddy with baby oil.
Yeah.
Unless it's Diddy.
Yeah. Maybe he used a whole bottle during each session, but that ain't illegal.
It's not. Unless it's Diddy.
And you know what? That reminds me. When I covered that, I was like, y'all, look how they pushing the baby oil thing as if it's illegal to have baby oil. Well, we got 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
You got evidence.
That's not they said it like it's 1,000 kilos. You know what I'm saying? Like we got 1,000 keys out here. Like that's not. It's baby oil, dude. What you talking about?
Yeah, you make a new product with baby oil.
You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about, man? Why are you even informing us that he had 1,000 of anything that's a perfectly legal substance to have?
Right. Right. This baby oil.
Yeah, we raided this guy home. He's wanted for robbery. He had 1,000 gallons of milk in the fridge. Oh, so who cares?
Yeah.
This guy's wanted for a robbery. He had 1,000 gallons of Kool-Aid. And
yeah. Hey man. Hey man. I didn't really get into this Diddy trial because I just have this mindset that he is subject to the playbook, man. That's why I just couldn't really get into it.
Well, see, this is the thing, y'all. And again, I'm gonna push this for black people, especially, y'all. Don't be telling this to white folk. You let them figure it out on their own. Now, shout out to the white people that come listen over here. Of course, y'all not included with those white folks. We know y'all cool, okay? Because y'all rock with us, okay? So I'm gonna say shout out to Sarah, shout out to Randall, the white people I know rocking with us, okay? Now it could be some others, but they ain't told me they white, so it is what it is. Look, man, focus on information, not the presentation.
Oh yeah.
Okay. If somebody say we got this guy for stealing a car, okay, they done tracked him down, they done shot the guy. He was wanted for a car theft, it didn't go right or whatever the case is, and then they throw something out there like the guy had the guy was found with the guy had 1,000 beers in the fridge. What they got to do with anything? The man wanted for stealing the car. He not wanted for robbing a liquor store. Right. Okay, right. Who cares if he got 1,000 cans of beer in the fridge? Like, it don't make an actual difference to the information that's going on. Okay, it makes no actual difference. And my thing is, Diddy is just one person. So now, this is the thing, because I'm gonna say shout out to my main man Shark Sands, who has said before, and he probably say it again. Sometimes black men get caught up in issues due to discipline. Okay, that's what they say. Okay, we get caught up in issues due to discipline. Now I'm gonna say I don't buy into that 1 second, y'all. I don't think as a black man you can be disciplined enough for America. Because if you can convict Diddy for trafficking and he ain't trafficked nobody, and this happened in front of everybody, and most folks ain't said nothing about it. Not that I know of. I ain't hear nobody really tripping about this. How he get convicted for trafficking, and he made an effort to make sure his money wasn't even involved in none of this situation. So he ain't pay for nobody to get busted in. He ain't paid for nobody to get flued out. How you gonna get him for trafficking? Because he hit somebody on a video that was too old to use as evidence? I'm supposed to convict him for something he didn't do because I want him to go down because some broad stole his phone and people didn't like his reaction to it, to a broad stealing his phone. And then on top of that, the broad was his woman. And I'm going to say, shout out to Diddy for not doing more to her. Because if you'd have stole my phone, now I'm not even Diddy. I don't know what type of contacts Diddy got in his phone. People, companies, celebrities, all kinds of stuff. Steal my phone. See how I act. And I'm not Diddy. Okay? I'm not Diddy. Steal my phone, though. See how I act. Okay? I think Diddy was pretty mild for a person who just got his phone stolen. And I don't need to know the context of why his phone got stolen. His phone was stolen. Remember, his lawyer came out and told us. They wasn't promoting that with the video, but his lawyer came out and told us. He said that Diddy's phone was stolen. My thing is, and I said even without that information, it looked like that lady stole something from him. I knew who it was, and before I knew that was, who she was and all that, I said, yeah, he looked like she stole something from him, and it just happened to be right again. But y'all should know, if you've been coming over here for any amount of time, y'all should know that Roger's right. Y'all should know that.
Well, I'm just saying that Diddy, he has his challenges like anybody else, man. There was a couple that were fighting with each other. That's all I see. What's new about that? But to be put up on charges and I just it's unfortunate, man. We have to constantly go through this, man. And people, this don't have nothing to do with his dick, man.
Say shout out to Perfect Timing Podcast. Wait a minute. You say so we agree that baby oil is good.
He was trusting that chamomile baby oil.
And he say Cassie was the queen pin. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this. As far as queen pins go, she was the one that wasn't arrested. She was the one that made off with the money too. So if you was writing a script, if you was gonna make a good movie about how you got all kinds of folks to get in all kinds of trouble, and you end up with the money, and nobody's looking to take you to jail, I'm gonna say it's something to that story, man. Those are great parts for a great movie. Okay, real talk. Those are great parts for a great movie. But we have Kryptonian Long BBC in the building. So y'all better watch out. This Kryptonian Long BBC. I guess that's different than regular BBC. We got Kryptonian Long BBC. That's his name, y'all. What you want me to do? What you want me to do? You have the mic, my brother. You have the mic.
All right. How you doing today, people?
Doing great.
The Kryptonian.
Well, first of all, I'd like to publicly apologize to Shark Tim yesterday. I went hard on him. He, he was out of character, even for me. I'm not always like that, but I was a little pissed off. You know what I mean? He got on my nerve. He made me feel like he was throwing other blacks under the bus, like everybody else keeps doing. All right, sorry,
Uh,
brother. It's not that
well,
deep. Pause.
well, you know what? I want to cut you off. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, but when it comes to this so-called P nice discipline, uh, how much more discipline does black men need? You know what I mean? Most black men don't even have children. Uh, we don't. 54% of black men don't have any children. That's 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 P nice discipline right here. I'm here on the panel with y'all talking good game. I could be out here chasing hoes, but I'd rather be on the panel with y'all. That's also part of, P nice discipline. And I, for myself, don't have any children. So that's because I'm practicing a high level of P nice discipline. So are we going to quote unquote discipline ourselves until we can't even enjoy our P nights anymore? We're gonna use our P nights just to take a piss, and that's it. We're not gonna do anything else with it. We're not gonna reproduce. You know what I mean? Because the Kryptonians needs Kryptonian babies. You know what I mean? Even though we don't have many Kryptonian women around, we got a bunch of Lois Lanes. At best, we can settle for some Wonder Woman. We need to use our BBC to reproduce. We cannot keep putting ourselves in the corner with some discipline, or else we're not gonna do anything with our BBC. Just gonna stay there. No, there is no one group in America that is controlled more than black men, and it's always all about the BBC. And thank you.
All right, and I appreciate you, brother, because yeah, this I'm gonna say this is what truly inspired the topic. Is do black men have an issue with not being disciplined enough sexually? Is that a real thing? Are we bringing some of these problems onto ourselves because we're just not disciplined enough sexually? And now, Shark is the only person I ever heard say this. I heard other people say this years ago. I've heard content creators say this same thing. I never really got it because it never really made sense to me. Okay. Now I do understand every man has to have some level of discipline, because if you go crazy out here with these hoes, yeah, you're gonna be in trouble. Now I'm gonna tell y'all this, which I've said before. I remember as a little kid in church, one of the first lessons that kind of clicked toward me as I'm growing up. I remember the men in the Bible usually ran into problems because of women. That's what I remember. Okay. You say whatever you want to say. David was a great king. David had an issue because he was going after some woman. Okay. Adam, first man, had literally the whole world in his hands. Where did Adam get a problem from? His woman. Okay. Samson, great man, given this unbelievable strength. What it says around the problems? His woman. There's a lot of people you can mention in the Bible that was cool until they started interacting with some woman. So I think one of the greatest lessons of the Bible is, as a man, you don't give charge to the women. Not with the stuff you're supposed to be in charge of. You got to be disciplined at some level to operate well in the world as a man. But I will say this. There seems to be this extra level of we as black men need to have more discipline than other men. Now, we live in the same country. We supposed to be free. Now, I understand on paper, we all supposed to be the same. I get that. Now, in practice, things get very different. Okay. Now, my thing is this. As a black man, do I need to have more discipline than somebody else who's not black? Technically, yes. I can say that. I can understand that argument because we get in trouble for everything. But I am going to say this. Can black men be taken down even if they have discipline? And I think the answer is a very clear yes in this country. You know, if it ain't about a sexual activity, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be about something else. So, does it matter for black men to truly be sexually disciplined? I don't think it actually does. Because if they can't get you to sex, they're going to get you to something else. I think sex is just a tool. It's just a tool. It may be a more convenient tool at the time to use against a black man. The same way they can get you for driving. They can just claim we saw you do something and we had to investigate, and then the investigation just went south. Next thing you know, dead niggas. We didn't want this to end up as dead niggas. But you know, they gave us attitude. They gave us prop. I mean, y'all think about the fact that police around the country are now having body cams put on them, not because it's just better policing, not because it's a better report of what's going on or anything like that. The reason people start getting body cams put on them because we couldn't trust the police to actually perform police duties. A lot of people they pay no attention to that. And see, this is what I mean by information rather than presentation. You would think police wear body cams so they can have better information when it's time to do reports, going over trial information, all that time. You would think that's the reason they have body cams. No, we literally got body cams because police have an issue beating niggas so much, killing niggas so much that they got to be watched. That's why we got body cams. We can't even trust the police. Literally, we can't even trust the police. Now, shout out to Muggles RA. He says at the Roger Report Live, you right around the corner from the chat button. Looking forward to supporting my brother. Oh, you talking about that super chat button? That's what he's talking about. Like and subscribe. Hey, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. We marching firmly. We marching firmly, y'all. Monday through Fridays, we making a push. We making a push. So if you are in the building and you like the realest content that you can get on social media, you might as well subscribe. Monday through Friday, y'all. Monday through Friday, we doing this. So if you ain't subscribed already, you might as well get that out the way. Real talk. Okay, real talk. So now we in this country where black men are very sexually disciplined. We so sexually disciplined, most black men ain't got kids, as the brother just brought up. You know, Trail's trying to start. He's trying to start problems. He talking about Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Dalton time. No. Don't get that twisted, y'all. Don't get that twisted. Dalton, the little suspect right now. Well, I guess they clean their act up. Because they definitely got rid of that, the quote unquote Superman. So Dalton doing a little better, I'm sure. But now we do this 9 a.m. Chicago time, y'all. 9 a.m. Chicago time. Well, we ain't got no Supermans messing stuff up. I ain't gonna talk too crazy when it comes to the mayors, because our mayors got reputations too, but that's neither here nor there. That's neither here. That's neither here nor there. It's not 9 a.m. Toledo time. It's 9 a.m. Chicago time. I don't know what rebellion is going on in the chat right now. But they done pulled in one of the captains. I don't know what's going on, but it's 9 a.m. Chicago time, y'all. Monday through Fridays, you're gonna get the realest on social media right here, and that's just real talk. And y'all, there is an ideal out here that if black men can be more sexually disciplined, black men won't have so much trouble. This is an idea that's really out here. Now, I appreciate Shark for bringing it up yesterday, but I'm gonna say this, y'all. It ain't like this a new idea. I heard this stuff years ago. Heck, decades ago, probably at this point. Real talk. Where are we sitting on this, y'all? As black men, or even a black woman, do y'all believe black men don't have enough sexual discipline? I mean, you always gonna have somebody who do something as a group. Okay. But from a general standpoint, should we really believe that black men don't have enough sexual discipline? Because I'm going to say this. According to how we buy condoms, seems like we're very clear on sexual discipline. The fact that even though the media will tell you something different, that we don't got kids all over the place, seems like we have a lot of sexual discipline. Okay. When it comes to different groups of men in this country, every group of men in this country have more children than the women that would be viewed as their counterparts. That means Hispanic men have more children than Hispanic women. White men have more children than white women. Okay? However you classify, whatever corresponding group of women have less children than the men of that group, except black men. Black men, the only group of men in this country that actually got less kids than the women that would be considered their counterparts. So what am I saying? Yes, black women got more kids than black men. You'll hear everybody talk about, black men being reckless, but black men don't even have as many children as black women. Now, you ain't got to be a mathematician to figure this out. But what this means for somebody who ain't never thought about it is that black women not just having children from black men. They having children from all kinds of folks. And even though they say black men are abandoning their kids, a lot of these kids don't even belong to black men. Let's keep it real. Black men don't abandon folks. Black men don't even break up with women. Y'all know I blew some young lady's mind the other week by telling her. Now I just asked her like legitimately, based on what she understands. I say, how can black men abandon children when we can't even get them to break up with their woman? How does that work? How does the group of men who won't even break up with a woman, not that I'm saying that's a good thing, how does that same group of men abandon children? You won't leave a woman that the children came from, but you somehow abandon the kid. It makes no sense. See, when you think about stuff should be evident to people, but sometimes you got to put a little thought into it. Now, a man won't leave a woman, but somehow he left the kid, even though he ain't left the woman. How you do that? Now, black men, again, got less children than black women got in the first place. How much sexual discipline do you need? Every other group of men got more children than they women do. We got less children than our women do. How much discipline do we need as black men? Now, is it our fault that for whatever white men's reasoning is, that them being afraid that we gonna have sex with their women, is that our fault? Does that really have something to do with us? Because that's what racism is based on. If you want to be real about it, I didn't say this many a time. It's literally what racism is based on. White men have an issue with the size of a black man's penis, and that's just what it is. Now you would think they would just leave us alone, and that way they wouldn't have to worry about us messing with white women. Because black men would stay to their own and their own people if they just weren't bothered. Let's be realistic, y'all. Let's be realistic. Who is known for going to mess with other people in their environments or other creatures in their environments? That's white men. They want to go out into the jungle and mess with animals they ain't got no business messing with.
Messing with anacondas all the time.
Mm-hmm. They study things. How do you get the things they study? Somebody got to go capture them, bring them to a lab. I'm not saying it's bad to be curious. I'm not saying it's bad to be a scientist. I'm saying white folks got a reputation of just bothering creatures and people. Now, y'all ever think about all those towns that white folks destroyed over some white woman supposedly being sexually assaulted by a black man? A lot of folks never think about why do white women keep going where the black men at? What you don't hear is black men going to white people's towns and then having sex with their women. I'm not saying what no man accused of that, but the story is usually where it's some white woman messing around where some black man is. It's not the black man chasing down the white women. If anything, it's the other way around if you even buy into the stuff. Okay? But at the end of the day, how much sexual discipline do black men need? You know, Hugh Hefner was old. What did I know about Hugh Hefner? Hoes. That's what I knew about Hugh Hefner. I can at least say for Diddy's case, what did I know about Diddy? Music. That's why I know who Diddy is. Music. He was the man running a company called Bad Boy. I know him for music. Now, he did many other things over time, but I know him for music. Why do I know Hugh Hefner? Hoes.
And also,
It's that simple at the end of the day.
Roger,
Go ahead.
black men are the least represented when it comes to the new case of STDs. The new case of STDs mostly includes black women and white men and white women. Black men are at the bottom of the list. How much more discipline do we need?
That only makes sense, especially with the fact that black men use condoms more than other people. That only makes sense. You know, black men always got to consider all these extra elements to even engage in sexual activity. You know? But Hugh Hefner, I know him for hoes. Now, y'all can say what y'all want to say, but that's how I know Hugh Hefner. Hoes. I remember growing up, the old white man was famous. Why was the old white man famous? Hoes. Over time, I picked up on the fact that he had something to do with Playboy. Now I find out he's doing parties, sleepovers, if you will. Did my idea ever change? No. Okay, he is known for hoes. Like, okay, now the fact that he's associated with a magazine that put out naked women. Now, I'm not tripping that the magazine puts out naked women. They grown people. They can do whatever they want to do. But let's be realistic. Who's more likely to pose in Playboy versus other magazines that you don't have to be naked in? Hoes. Let's just keep that real. So he's just a white man that I knew because of hoes. It's that simple at the end of the day. Every black man that they done came against and don't look like he did anything wrong, I did not know them over hoes. They had this whole escapade that they ended up having. They done convicted Bill Cosby, had to let him go, had to acknowledge that he didn't do anything wrong. They just wanted to ruin his reputation. And because they know people just grab onto something like that and just hold on to it. I did not know Bill Cosby for hoes. Okay. I knew Bill Cosby because he was a comedian. Bill Cosby was funny. Bill Cosby endorsed products. Okay. One of his greatest endorsements was the Jell-O Pudding Pop. Everybody was making fun of those Jell-O Pudding Pops commercials. We know about no hoes. Now, Bill is a grown man. I'm not tripping if Bill had sexual engagement with other grown hoes. Okay? I ain't tripping. If Bill want to have sex with grown hoes, that's his business. I don't care. Just real talk. I just don't care, never care, probably never will care. I'm sure I'm going to die without actually caring that Bill Cosby had some hoes. Bill was grown. Bill was very successful. Bill produced a lot of great comedy that I enjoyed as I grew up. Real talk. You know, found out way more stuff about Bill that didn't have nothing to do with hoes. Now, I came to, when it was presented that Bill had hoes back in the day, I accepted that because Bill was a grown man. Bill was a very successful black man. Bill was rich. Of course, he had some hoes if I think about it. I just never thought about it. And I don't care about his hoes. Now, did I believe for 1 second Bill did anything with some hoes that they didn't want him to do? Not for a second. Let's keep it real, y'all. Bill Cosby funny. Now, I'm funny. Do I get hoes because I'm funny? Oh, absolutely. Do I get women because I'm funny? Sure do. I'm not a professional comedian. I definitely ain't got Bill's money. I'll take some of that money off Bill. I ain't got Bill's money. So why would I believe for a second that Bill has to do something inappropriate to get some hoes out here? It don't even make sense. But see, that's when you look at information more than presentation. Most men know that being funny is a great way to get women. Now we gonna act like Bill not funny because he rich and he powerful, as they were saying. So he not funny now. So the women didn't want to sleep with Bill, even though he's rich and he's funny, because that's enough. If we want to keep it real, that's been enough. But now you're gonna add the fact that he's famous and rich on top of him being funny. Come on now. I can't figure in the world where Bill can't get hoes. So what are we trying to say? In order for Bill to get hoes, he got to do something corrupt. He got to do something quote unquote funny. He got to trick somebody. He got to fool. Bill Cosby got to fool somebody to get hoes. Are we looking at presentation or are we looking at information? Who don't want to have sex with the rich, famous guy? Let's think about how women operate in general. Women would destroy their whole lives over a sexual encounter with a rich, famous guy. Are we going to pretend women ain't went to a concert? We call them groupies, y'all. We going to pretend women ain't never went to a concert and had sex with the guy who was in town for the weekend? Or the guy who was in town for the night because he performed? He was a rapper or a singer, some type of entertainer. We gonna pretend women don't. We gonna pretend married women ain't ruined their marriages over going to have sex with some guy they do not know, who they'll probably never see again. But they just had to give him some. They had a husband at home and everything, but they just had to give him some. We gonna pretend we don't see women who was a girlfriend of some dude, and they got caught up lusting after some guy who was coming to town. and now it got public, so now dude doesn't say, no, I'm done with her. Where is this thing about stopping these hoes? Because people present stuff as if men struggle to have sex with women. But when you look at the information, you see women throwing it out. Shout out to Chris Brown. Lloyd said Chris Brown pimping $1,000. Look, all I can say is I ain't mad at Chris. Okay? Chris go out there and give you a great show. And after you had a great show experience, if you pay him upwards of $1,000, because I think it was $1,100 he was actually charging. Because he dropped the album called 1111. I think he was charging the same thing. You want to come holler at a player after the show? You want to get your meet and greet on? Cool. Just drop that bread. Okay. I can only meet with so many people. Why shouldn't I meet with the people who are willing to pay more than $1,000 to meet me? That's just real talk. Why shouldn't I meet with those? Those are the real fans. You know, you got different levels of fans out here. You can't say she ain't a real fan and she ready to drop bread like that just to meet them. That's a real fan, real talk. Okay, that's a real fan. I can't be mad at Chris for that. Heck, I wish I'd have thought of it myself. I can't be mad at Chris for that. Okay. Now, how many women got in trouble for spending money they wasn't supposed to spend over trying to go to a concert like that or trying to pay for a meet and greet like that? How many women got in some trouble? So, you know, we act like hoes don't go after black men. Now, you got the famous black men. You got the black men that ain't famous. Okay, you ain't got to sing like Chris Brown to get no hoes. Women just like a singer. You ain't got to be as good as Chris Brown. You ain't got to write no songs. You ain't got to be no prolific songwriter. You ain't got to write no song. As long as you can sing somebody else's song, you good to go. We're going to pretend that's not going on. How much discipline, you know, sexually do black men have to have? Because I'm going to say this, y'all. I don't think there's no version of America where sexual discipline stops white people from being racist. Okay. Did it happen during slavery? You know, what version of America has, you know, racism been aimed at black men, but only the black men who don't have sexual discipline? This is something I want a lot of black folks to actually think about. What does sexual discipline have to do with racism when the people who are being racist against you, they already being racist against you for sexual reasons? Let's think about that, y'all. Would racism exist if you remove all the sexual stuff out of it? No, it wouldn't. The average white man who has an issue with black men being black, most of them are on something because their concern is, and let's just keep it real, their concern is their phallus ain't in comparison to ours. Just is what it is. I don't want you to have that job because I don't want you to have money and a big dick. I don't want you to live in this neighborhood because I don't want you to have a nice home and a big dick. We don't want you coming in our stores because we don't want you to be able to dress well and have a big dick. You can put anything you want with racism, y'all, and just add and a big dick, and that's where you got your concern. We don't want to sell you this car because I don't want you to have a nice car and a big dick. Now, if you're worried about my dick size, how can I be sexually disciplined enough to satisfy you? Now, am I saying black men shouldn't be sexually disciplined? No, I'm not saying that. Because if you're not, you're going to be out here in a crazy way. But what can I do with a man who already don't like me because of his perception of how big my dick is? Y'all, because my thing is, think about this from a realistic standpoint. They see a black man. Technically, they don't know how big his dick is. You don't technically just know that from looking at the guy. So they're going to have an imagination about how big your dick is as a black man. Now, if that white man is already imagining things about your dick, he's a straight white man. He's not even gay. He's a straight white man, but he having all types of thoughts about the size of your dick. Do you really believe you can have enough dick discipline to stop him from wondering about you? And this may be where it gets uncomfortable for some folks, y'all. Because white men do think about your dick. It's part of being a white man in America. They have all types of thoughts about your dick. I understand maybe you are quote unquote friends with somebody. Maybe y'all working somewhere together. Maybe y'all in corporate America working for the same company. Yeah. That white guy that you went out to the bar with, you know, that white man that you went to lunch with, everything was fine. Y'all, you know, in your mind, it's just two straight men, ain't nothing else going on. But that white man was thinking about your dick. And I'm gonna tell y'all, there is something I've accepted years and years ago. Now, y'all may think it sounds funny, but Roger, be real. Because if you be real, it helps you get through the world better. I understand white men think about my dick. I get that. It's not a shock to me to have some white man think about my dick. I expect the white man to think about my dick. Now, it sounds crazy because you're talking about straight people. But it's legitimately the truth. A lot of straight white men are thinking about your dick size. Now, how are you gonna have enough sexual discipline for a straight white man who thinks about your dick size to be okay with you? No. I'm saying no, y'all, because Trill as Trail. He said straight, the white man with dick on his mind. Isn't that an oxymoron? I don't know. I don't see. I didn't grow up in this world where white men didn't have a bunch of sexual thoughts about dicks. That's not the world I grew up in. Now I understand some people may not like what I'm gonna say. I'm just telling y'all the truth from what I know and how I grew up. When I grew up, even white men was constantly thinking about black dick. Now the thing is, what was the context that they was thinking about black dick in? Was it that black dick is getting my wife? Was it that black dick is messing with my daughter? Was it that I'm gonna lose my women out because of some black dick? There's a lot of sexual context in what white men do. Now, I'm not saying it ain't some other men who join them, because it is. And they worried about what somebody black gonna do. And they expect us to come through and be able to pound their wives out, pound their daughters out, pound their mamas out. I'm not gonna say it's not a legitimate concern. Okay, I'm not gonna say it ain't no legitimate concern. It obviously is. That don't mean we gonna do it. But I do think when you steady bothering some particular people, eventually they are gonna start messing with your women. I do believe that's gonna happen. You can't just bother somebody forever, and then they start getting in a position where they're around one of your women, and they ain't gonna go and do something. Because you done made that man have to think about you too much. Now, if the man was just minding his own business, doing his own thing in his own black town, messing with his own black people, he might not ever go somewhere and mess with some white woman because it's just not on his mind. But if I got to think about white folks on a regular basis, every time I get stopped by the police, I got to consider, am I getting stopped because this is something legal, or is this some white man looking to bother me? I don't know what's going on. Lights come on, you hear the sirens, you pull over. Before you see the cops, you got to consider, did I do something wrong? Can I recognize where I did something wrong? Or is this just another white guy bothering me? Now, if I don't have to think about that on a regular basis, maybe I never have sex with a white woman because I ain't thinking about white women. But when you steady insert yourself in somebody's life, They have to think about people of your color. What if you force me to think about white people? As a straight man, my mind eventually is going to go to a white woman. And the eventual probably ain't going to take that long. Okay? Then guess what? I might as well have sex with a white woman. So the very thing you're trying to stop from happening, you're encouraging. Because now you got me thinking about white women. What if I'm thinking about white women like that, I might as well have sex with one, or two, or three, or four. Yeah, that's just real talk. Now, I'm gonna say this, y'all. Shannon Sharp got in some trouble, right? If you come to my channel on a regular basis, you're very much aware that Shannon Sharp got in some trouble. But we gave him the ruthless nice guy anyway. Now we can all point out where Shannon Sharp made a mistake. Shannon Sharp was messing with a white woman who didn't sign an NDA. Okay, so I'm gonna say they got the one with Shannon Sharp. Now, should they have bothered Shannon Sharp the way they did? No. Did they prove Shannon Sharp did anything wrong? No. The only thing that we know for sure is that Shannon Sharp was having sex with some young white woman. I don't care if Shannon Sharp is having sex with some young white woman. What, you want him to have sex with an old white woman? You know? I didn't see what the problem was. And I know a lot of people came at Shannon Sharp because he was older than the white woman. It was like he was, I forget exactly how he's old, but somewhere around 55, 56. The white woman was 19. The white woman legal, y'all. It is what it is. If we got such a problem with him being with a 19-year-old, then maybe we need to change the age of consent. That's how I look at that. I'm not going to jump on the black man saying he was messing with somebody, she was too young. No. That's what we agreed the age of consent was. Okay? 18 and over, you good. She was 19. So I can't rag on Shannon for messing with a 19-year-old when we done literally said as a country it's okay to mess with a 19-year-old. So why I'm gonna be mad about it when Shannon do it? You know what I suspect, not that I asked their ages, what I suspect was over at the Playboy Mansion? 19-year-olds. Okay? Real talk. Shout out to Trill as Trill. That's not me cursing, y'all. He said, I think he was like 52 and she was 19. And my thing is, so what? And I appreciate you for giving me those ages, but when I look at that, I see 52 and I see 19. She legal. What you want me to say? She legal. If a white man can have sex with her and she's 19, why can't a black man have sex with her and she's 19? Because I seen plenty of hoes over at the Playboy Mansion. Y'all gonna tell me it wasn't none of them hoes 19? No. None of them hoes was 19 over at the Playboy Mansion, huh? Y'all keep in mind, I knew Hugh Hefner for hoes. Okay? I didn't know Hugh Hefner was a businessman. I didn't know he was associated with Playboy and all that. I learned all that over time. I just knew Hugh Hefner was some famous old white guy and he had a bunch of hoes. And that's just real talk. Okay? That's just real talk. Now, shout out to Floyd Thomas. He say that's what they would want, Roger. But they changed consent laws from 16 to 17, 18. And see, that's the thing. If the consent law, we know in America, you good at 18 everywhere. We know that. If she's 19 and she wants the BBC from the rich black man, she may not even know him as a football player. Maybe she knew, maybe she didn't. She, kind of young to know about his career. So to her, he's just the rich black man, the rich, big, buff black man. She want to get out. What you want me to say about that? Well, he shouldn't do it because he's Shannon Sharp. No, I'm not going to say that because you ain't had no problem. You having to do it. Nobody even cared about the ages of the hoes that he was around. You know, the few people who would say something, long as they 18 over, they was cool with it. So why I'm gonna get mad at Shannon Sharp because he busting down some 19-year-old? I don't care. What about if when I'm 52, maybe I want to bust down a 19-year-old? Okay. If it's legal, get out my business. We ain't changed no laws. I don't want to hear nothing about it. I'm not gonna even be nice about it. If I was Shannon, I wouldn't be nice about it at all. Yeah, I was hitting that 50, that 19-year-old thing at 52. And so what? Is what it is. Because I don't see problems when white men bust down 19-year-olds. I don't see it. Okay? I don't see it at all. Okay? Just is what it is. You know? Shout out to Trill. He said, I prefer 23-year-olds myself. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say I had this little joke. I'd be like, man, as long as they 18 to 81. That's what I jokingly say, y'all. As long as they 18 to 81. You know, it is what it is. I'm not finna be, walking around on eggshells because somebody has an opinion that I shouldn't touch this particular person because, I'm black. See, if they was touching on some white man, it'd be totally fine. Because I'm black, I'm supposed to think about this stuff. Man, I ain't trying to hear it. If you 18 to 81, it's up. Real talk, y'all. If you 18 to 81, it's up. I'm not finna explain myself about no hoes. I'm a grown man. I ain't explaining myself about no hoes. You know? If you got something to say to me, all I'm gonna say, was she underage? The answer is no. So I don't know what you're talking about. It is what it is. You know, if you got a big problem, I mess around, hit your door, your mama and your grandmama, just to prove a point. So you think I should mess with no young hoes? Okay, I'm gonna hit your mama then. Now what? You know what I'm saying? And I ain't even said I mess with old ladies like that. But since you talking, where your mama at? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get in with your mama. Okay. Might get in with your daughter, depending on how old she is, and then leave you out. Just because you mad about what I'm doing as a black man with something that ain't got nothing to do with you. Okay? Ain't got nothing to do with you. Shout out to Inspired Truth. He said, yeah. And they pushed the idea that Shannon should get an old, obese woman for real. Now, I wouldn't go that far with it. Real talk, I don't care who Shannon's sleeping with. As long as they of age, they fine. If we really got a problem with the age, my thing is we got to change the laws. See, I don't like to get on this thing where you can charge black men for nonsense, but other people would just gonna get it passed. No. If we really don't like the age of black men is when it comes to dealing with some woman, then let's change the laws. See, if we don't want the black man to do it, we shouldn't want any man to do it. Let's just change the laws. But see, that make people start talking out the side of their neck sometimes when you start saying stuff like that. Because I'm not gonna have a problem with Shannon Sharp messing with a 19-year-old. 19 is legal. That's what I know about 19. It's legal. So if it's legal, why am I tripping? Now, I'm not saying people can't go after a moral route. If you're doing it for God, I understand. But if God ain't involved, what you talking about? It don't even make sense to me. If it ain't from a religious perspective, then why are you talking? But see, in this country, we put all these things up about how black men need to have this sexual discipline that don't nobody else need to have. Shannon was messing with a 19-year-old. The 19-year-old is legal. Old white men mess with 19-year-olds every single day in this country. Every single day. Is there always some 50-year-old white, 50-year-old plus white man hitting some 19-year-old woman every single day in this country? Absolutely. You can't find one day that don't happen in this country. That's an everyday thing. Every day is some 50-plus-year-old white man having sex with some 19-year-old woman. So why Shannon got to be different? Now, Shannon should have had that NDA signed. That's what Shannon messed up. Okay? That's what he messed up. If you famous, get your NDAs, y'all. If she don't want to get no NDA, leave her outside. That's how you do that. Leave her on the corner. You know, you hop in your Benz, you pull off. And she just got to stand there and watch her friend go somewhere with you. Because they always got a friend who going. You know? You don't want to bust down for the multimillionaire? That's your business. Excuse me, young lady. I know you just her friend, but we ain't make no connection. This is your chance now. What you want to do with it? Now, again, I understand the religious reason, but if you ain't being religious, I don't want to hear it. And I don't think that black men need to be more sexually disciplined than anybody else from a paper standpoint. I'm talking about what's on paper. Now, let's be realistic. Do black men need to be more sexually disciplined than other people? Absolutely. But there are extremes, y'all. There are extremes. And I don't want to argue that black men shouldn't be able to have sex with random women when random women out here giving boxes to some of everybody. Okay. Now, Shark Sims is here. Now, as I said, this show was a little inspired by you. Not that I'm saying you're taking a bad position. I just want us to really think the position. Is our issue really sexual discipline? Because I personally don't think it is. Because I think straight white men think about black dicks every single day. I think just about all the moves they make got something to do with a black dick. And I'm not even saying they LGBT, and like, I'm saying these are straight white men, but they got an issue with your dick. I don't think you can solve that issue. But what say you, my brother? What say you?
Yo, peace to the chat. Peace, Roger. What up, Giomi? All right. Yesterday, me and Uru, we was in the back chopping it up, and I had to come to a conclusion. Maybe I have to say it a different way so y'all can get it, because somehow it all resorts to sex. You know what Diddy did wrong? He messed with a bitch that threw him under the bus. What you said about the Bible was very, very, very on point to what I was saying. If you and what Giomi was saying about not having children, that is the discipline. Ain't nobody saying don't use it smart. You know how you set up a nigga in the hood with a bad bitch. Yo, Keisha, take this 500. Go run down on son, make him feel good, work it until you get him to where we need you to get him to. Next thing you know, you got a dead black man, robbed, everything taken. Why? He ain't have dick discipline. It's not about sex. It's about using it correctly. The dude that you know why black men don't break up with black women? Because they ain't got dick discipline, or they a hobosexual, meaning they need her for that apartment, or they thirsty for some pussy, so they not gonna leave no pussy because they don't have no pussy lined up. And now you done wasted mad time with this bitch that's got you miserable, angry all the time. You can't even focus on work. Why? Because she got some good pussy. Know how many black men got horrible baby mamas? A lot of the ones that got baby mamas mostly. Why? Because she had a fat ass. Ain't nobody telling you don't use your dick. The fact that you said black men use condoms the most, that's showing dick discipline. She can't have a baby out of mouth. That's showing dick discipline. How do we get how do intelligent black men just reduce a ill statement like that to, oh, well, you saying we can't have sex? No. I'm saying be smart about how you have sex. then who you have it with? Like Roger said, black women practice white supremacy, and you still fucking black women. You ain't got dick discipline.
Now, I'm gonna say, yeah, you do need some level of discipline because you got to get by in the world. So I ain't gonna argue none of that. What I'm just presenting is that I don't think sexual discipline will have anything to do from a racial context, because unfortunately for black men, and this may be hard for black men to swallow, white men got your dicks on their mind on a regular basis. That's just the way it goes.
To an extent of genetic annihilation type of shit, but I don't even think the average white man thinks that intricately. He's just jealous of your stature. He's just jealous of your style. He's just jealous of how you put words together and the shit just sounds smooth when y'all at work. He's jealous of those things. I don't really even think they think to that magnitude. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying,
but they do think like they are the ones that's smart enough to understand it, and they do think like that. So I'm not negating what you're saying.
Well, I'm just saying from, because people have subconscious thoughts. There's stuff that's been drilled in us, and then they just run subconsciously at this point. But I do say your subconscious is going to rule you at the end of the day. So white men think about our dicks because there's always this whole thing about trying to protect their women from. And I'm saying, you have racism because they're so concerned about where our dick's going to go that they put so much attention on us. It's going to make it natural for us to have to think about white women because I got to think about white men and stuff they're going to be trying to do to me. Now, how long am I going to think about a white man before I start thinking about a white woman? See, now you done made me want to put my dick in one of them. And if you just left me alone, they wouldn't even cross my mind, So I think a lot of the reason that black men have had sex with white women is because white men have caused problems. Then black men got to think about white men. But we're straight. We're only gonna think about a white man so much before we start thinking about a white woman.
Now, I'm not against the whole, interracial having sex shit and all that. But when you when you in a place where you already know how these people get down, just because Becky's throwing some joints, throwing some stuff at you, do you risk your life to do that? You understand what I'm saying? Like, so that comes back to discipline again. I don't think it's like that right now. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? They ain't going crazy like that, like they used to do back in the days, but that's still discipline. It's just making the proper decision. Like, that's all it is. It's like, how the post-nut clarity, and you laying next to him like, damn, why I even mess with this one? What the fuck was I thinking about? You know what I mean? Hopefully Roger don't see me walking out the building with her.
Because I'm telling.
I know you're going to tell. You're going to be on the back chat and you're going to be in the front chat. Like, this nigga had a chick that was fat. But that's all I'm saying. It ain't, bro, y'all could do whatever y'all, you could do whatever you want as long as you ain't doing it to no kids.
Now I'm going to say this, y'all. For the unfortunate, y'all. I think yesterday, y'all, we had a great show yesterday. Real talk. We had a fantastic show yesterday. But y'all know how at the end of the show, sometimes we go to Bible study in the back, man. Bible study was fantastic yesterday. That's all. Bible study was fantastic yesterday, man. Y'all need to open up the word sometime and get the word in. We had a great Bible study. Can't tell you about it because, it happened backstage. It is what it is. The rules are the rules. Ain't nothing from backstage coming out, but Bible study. I think yesterday's show was good as it was. I think Bible study was even better than yesterday's show. That's what that was my viewpoint on it. But let me let these other gentlemen get in. Perfect. You have the flow, my brother. How you doing?
Hello, brother. Good morning. How you doing? Sound like y'all having a good one, man. Had to come join, man. Had to come join.
Man, it's been a doozy, man. It's been a doozy.
Is we on Diddy or we on Dick Discipline? What's the topic? I want to have it.
No. The Diddy was just a presentation of, when it comes to because my thing is, do black men need more sexual discipline than other men? because there's so much focus on us and sex.
And I did recall hearing you say that, yes, we do, because we get in trouble for everything. But then I did hear a brother say that based on the statistics that we already exhibit that. And I'm kind of leaning that way. I guess I agree with both, because I got sons, right? So I definitely would say that they need to exhibit with Shark Sims that quality, especially if you're in the inner city and you're dealing with and you're growing up around the BW. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you gotta understand your position on the chessboard. So yeah, a lot of young men don't have that and don't understand that, so they get caught up. But then again, the numbers, I think a lot of us are older on the panel, so we are bringing forth like issues from our youth, and truly the 20-year-old, like my sons and stuff, like they don't date and they're not as promiscuous as we were. You know how, remember the movie was like, how many phone numbers you gonna get tonight? I don't see my son doing that. The mall is not the mall anymore. You know, school is not the school anymore. So I honestly, I'll be trying to push my 20-year-olds, like, you know, go get a car, go get a girl. It's rare that they have more than one woman, right? That wasn't rare for us. It was in our music, it was in our lifestyle. So I don't know specifically. And then when you talk about Diddy, you're talking about a 50-plus-year-old man. So are we talking about the Gen X generation? Because if it's Gen X, I would say yes. Gen X had exhibited an inability to show discipline. But as far as like millennials and zillennials, that's when we get into that word we don't use on here. You know, they be in the basement in their mama house. So it depends on what generation specifically you're talking about. So if you're talking about millennials, I would want them to be more promiscuous and live more life. I don't see them doing that. But for us, the Gen Xers, yeah, man, I never talk about it, but I think I got 3 or 4 baby mamas. I never bring it up how many kids I got. I got a couple basketball teams. I got a basketball team, and I got bench, and I got 3, 4. I got a basketball team of baby mamas. So yeah, Gen X, we had an issue with that. I wish I would have did a lot better. I could be honest about myself, but as far as my sons and them, nah.
Okay, very interesting opening statement. Very interesting. Shout out to Bullish Prince of Wales, 4021. He says the average black man shows a substantial amount of discipline in all he does, including discipline. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. We're going to get the flow over to Jado is in the house. You got it, my brother.
Hey, what up, Roger? What's up, fellas? Hope y'all doing well, man. Everybody in chat, replay gangs, well. Man, I might get crucified for my viewpoint, man. But yo, man, like I get it, like genetic annihilation. I think white people are definitely concerned with that. Is that the only source of their racism, or the primary motivating factor behind it? I don't know if that's true, but I think it is a motivating factor, man. Dig discipline, man. I think we do. Hey, man, somebody's waging war against you, and maybe some people don't think that that's true. But when someone's waging war against you and they're searching for vulnerabilities or places to a possible weakness, and if they can use, sex against you, then they're going to use it. So I think black men do need to show dig discipline. And I don't think wearing a condom is showing dig discipline if you really look at it. But we can talk. I guess we can talk about that later. But I think a lot of times, man, just even like we talk about these hoes and all that stuff, man. I think just even having sex with these hoes, having these hoes in your space and being around them, I think they're robbing you of something. I think we give them some type of power whenever we're even associated with them, talking to them, having sex with them with or without a condom. You know what I'm saying? I think we kind of I guess we're doing something that's against our well-being. I guess you know what I'm saying. But yeah, man, I think we do need more. War is being waged, and I say that the people that don't think war is being waged against us as black men, they just say, hey, whatever. I'm just gonna do what I do with my dick or whatever. So anyway, man, I'll end right there. Thanks for that, bro.
Thank you, sir. Because I was gonna say something about clock discipline. Clock discipline. No.
I'm gonna start looking at this clock, Roger. Man, what was our time, Dad? Man, let me see. I can't.
I'm telling you, it's all good, brother. It's
All
all
right,
good. We ain't gonna make no big deal,
man.
though. We ain't gonna make no big deal.
All right,
You
I'm gonna
chose
start
some
clocking
clock
myself
discipline.
now.
You chose some clock discipline. It's fine. Tunnel Runner, you got it, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brothers. Yes, there's plenty of stories on women on their 18th birthday packing up their car and going to the Playboy Mansion. On their so they were going out there as soon as they could become legal. So to let you know that they wasn't even trying to wait not an extra day. They were trying to get out there. So for all these guys who thinking something about the age or whatever, you have to, like say, if it's legal, it's legal, and you can stand on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm with y'all all day long on that one, brother. I'm with y'all all day long. Okay. All right. Well,
Also, Roger, one more thing. I got my MDA from my wife, but it's called a prenup.
and it's working out for you over there. It's working out for you over there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Getting dusty. My prenup getting dusty, but it's still holding up. I don't even need it, but it's so far, so good.
I think the penis envy conversation is an interesting one as far as our oppression and people having because it's not unique to white men, those of us who are out in the space. I've experienced the same thing from women, right, from other races. So the penis envy and people who will try to oppress you or have an issue with you is not always. Some women I've dealt with in my professional life have penis envy because they desire the black man, but they have apprehension, so they end up treating you poorly as a boss, right? And come to find out, after I transitioned, I got promoted, I got another job, then this same woman would then come track me down and try to, seduce me. And I was like, damn, you were the worst boss I had. So this penis envy thing is true, but it's not unique to white men, and it can manifest itself in many different ways. So that's an excellent conversation to talk about for those of us who be moving around in the world who's have experienced that.
Absolutely. And you over there getting treated like crap, and the whole time she just wanted some dick. Ain't that about a we gonna turn it over to Kevin 3905 for his own statement. You got it, my brother. You got it.
What's up, fellas? Man, it's good to hear y'all voices again today. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, I think it's more of a moral thing. Like if we practice good morals, if we lean on our moralities, I think we'll be in a better position. The big discipline will come with that. Like in the case, we're bringing up Diddy as a case study. It's his morals that are in question. And if his morals were in the right place, he wouldn't have got caught up doing some of the things that he's doing. It's just like us regular brothers. One of you brothers brought up the ideal of, hey, if you want to trap up a brother, you just bring him a bad bitch. But if morally I can see past the aesthetics of a woman and I can look at her and I have some discernment, it'll help me to avoid some of these things. So I think it's just more of a moral thing. We need to practice better principles and morality, and big discipline will automatically come with that, man. That's the outlet with that.
Okay. Interesting. Now I'm gonna say that morals is good. Okay. If we were a more moral people, I'm pretty sure I'd be married, and some dick discipline would have came with that because I wouldn't have cheated on my wife. No, I'm just saying that as a realistic thing. I don't personally believe in cheating because I do believe there's a certain level of cowardness associated with cheating, and I don't want to be a coward. That's simple to me. Me being scared to tell some woman what I'm about to do. Yeah, I don't see myself being that way. Now I understand we was raised a lot differently, but I wasn't raised in a way where being afraid of women is part of the scenario. But I do think the average man was raised, and I say it all the time, he's been socialized to be afraid of women. So I believe that's a big deal in why we cheat in the first place. Because I'm scared to tell her I'm finna bust her friend down. You know what I'm saying? Like, now how about you just come with me when I bust your friend down? You know? I understand you upset, but let's be real. You ain't gonna want to have sex as much as I do because I'm a man and you a woman. So you ain't gonna keep pace with me 9 times out of 10. Let's just be real about it. And do you really want me cheating, or you want to know what's going on? You still get to be the head one, so you good. Okay, she gonna be the number 2. You ain't got to worry about your position. You cool. Now it could work or it may not work. It is what it is. But I'm gonna say every man has to have some level of discipline, period, because the world is unsafe for a undisciplined man. Okay, especially a black one. So I agree that you got to have some discipline. Do you have to have more discipline than others as a black man? Yes, you do. You technically do. I understand on paper we all the same, but that don't translate over into real life. But what I am saying is I can't expect I don't expect black men to have to do beyond what other men have to do, especially from a legal perspective. That's why I think Shannon Sharp just did something that was totally stupid by not having a woman sign an NDA. And I think Diddy was absolutely railroaded because based on the information I have, I cannot understand where Diddy actually broke a law. I understand people was morally against him because he beat up a broad that stole his phone who happened to be his girlfriend at the time. But that's what happened. He beat up a chick, and he really didn't even beat her up. But that's how people looking at it.
He I never got to talk about. He didn't really get off one good. Let me be quiet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let her had stole my phone. She wouldn't have got off that easy. Stealing my phone.
She wasn't no bruises, no black eye. Not to say that that's appropriate. I'm just saying when we judging an ass whooping,
Perfect. I said that before, man. He kicked her barefooted, man. He hurt himself more than he hurt her, bro. To be honest with you.
Hey, Roger, he got pit hand discipline. He got pit hand discipline.
brothers, I want to say one thing. Are we setting up our brothers? Because as we talk about Diddy, I'm thinking about in my life, okay, how much dick discipline is going to help me avoid the issues we discuss in the black manosphere and what the advice we try to give men? Because a lot of times what happened with me and a lot of men who come to the panel with the red pill rage is they've crapped out. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of, like, if they don't have the knowledge of the black manosphere, especially the 5.0 sector, they crap out because they don't have the ability to make the right decision. A lot of the men haven't been sleeping with multiple women is that they choose wrong. So it's not really dick. If someone listening to us right now, not to take away from Shark because it's a good point, but they might think, okay, dick discipline is going to save me. When it's not, right? You need these other skills that we provide in the Black Manosphere 5.0 in order to not crap out and make the wrong choice. Because I've crapped out. When I believed, when I didn't know that the relationship me and my mother had was a narcissistic relationship, I married a woman and had children with a woman just like my mother. I wasn't sleeping with multiple women. I didn't cheat on her, but I chose a woman like my mother. I crapped out.
And what I'm saying is, the discipline, the lack of it, will have you choosing wrong. You won't even see the red flags. Like, damn, this bitch is kind of loony. This bitch standing over me while I'm sleeping and shit, smiling. Like, all of that's gonna go out the door without some discipline.
No, I mean, a lot of the guys are like grow up in church, who come to the manosphere and they've been burnt. They married a BW like their mama, and then they cheated, got divorced. Now they on child support, and they come in here for an answer because it was like, no, I was the good guy. I had a job, I loved her, I married her, and now I'm here. And that's a lot of our story. That's where the red pill trauma comes from. Not from a man who slept with a black man who wants to get married. Most young men I mentor, they have this idealistic ideal that they can get married forever. And I always ask them, yo, first ask that woman, does she believe in marriage or does she believe in divorce? A lot of young black men I talk to don't understand divorce, and that most women that they date and marry believe in divorce. You going into this not believing in, I didn't believe in divorce, but I never asked her. So I mean, dick discipline is good to have. Number one, straight up, I'm not denying that. But are we telling young men that that's going to save them, right? If they crap out in life and don't apply some of the skill sets we provide to them here, dick discipline not going to save you if you still choose it wrong.
Well,
No, I agree.
that's
what
where
I'm
the
saying. It's
morals
like,
and discipline comes in, because with discernment you start to be able to vet out these women properly and say, wait a
Thank you.
minute, she looks well, but it is her actions ain't lining up with her words or with the way she looks. Because a lot of us, we just go with, oh, she bad, and that's it. If she's pretty, and this coming from like the '80s. Oh man, she pretty. She must be a good chick if she pretty. We actually believe that.
Yeah, fun time.
Hey,
No, I'm
hey,
playing. I'm
So
playing.
is
hey,
that ignorance? Is that ignorance or is that dick discipline? Because if you, that sounds
It's
like
ignorance.
right.
It's ignorance. It's ignorance. So we didn't have the discernment to understand that, really, to be honest with you, the more attractive some of these women are, the lazier they are at everything. The relationship, sex, everything.
Man, pretty privilege. Pretty
and
privilege.
and
Yeah.
how does pretty privilege work? Because men, period, don't have that dick discipline to say this bitch ain't worth shit. I'm not giving her no attention. Let me
Facts.
go holler at the chick who's doing something with herself. Let me go holler at the chick who's in church. Let me holler at the chick who's literally playing tennis. I ain't like, like this is why black women are the way they are, because they know we gonna fuck them regardless.
I'm looking for the chick who play pickleball. She could come play pickleball.
Even the
Yeah.
shit with the little birdie, the shit with the little birdie that go mad slow and back and forth. That shit too. Like, come on.
All right. Now let me say shout out to Ken C and Red.
Oh, here
He
we go.
said, "Ed Roger for live. Please cut off perfect timing. What happened to the super chat?" Now, now I just want y'all to get whether he realized it or not. Yeah, this is a different channel, so we got to get the super chat back. But I want y'all to recognize that he wanted me to cut perfect timing off, even though there wasn't no super chat available. So he coming back in hot. He coming, but I'm gonna say this, Ken C and Red. I'm gonna let him get a pass because you ain't super chatted, brother. So your shenanigans ain't gonna work. Probably, we almost there, y'all. We almost there. I got to get up to 1,000 before I can reinstitute the super chat. We almost there. So, if you want it there quicker, go get a friend and tell them to subscribe. You know what I'm saying? They need to be listening to this channel anyway. Now, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna give it to Floyd because Floyd then came up. Look, I'm gonna say we all need some level of dick discipline. But what I wanted to say was that when it comes to the racial thing that goes on, dick discipline will not save you. You being disciplined sexually will not save you from people who want to be racist toward you because your dick is important to them. And black men just don't understand how important a dick is to a white man. And I know it sounds crazy, and the young people be saying pause this and pause that. No, you got to get an understanding just how big your dick is in a white man's mind. It's a big deal. Real talk. That's why they had a manosphere and they couldn't work with a black manosphere. Based on the story that was told by people who was there when it happened, the white folks couldn't get past BBC stuff. Black men, white men trying to come together to, do something about men's rights and everything like that. They couldn't jail because the BBC was just too important of a subject for white folks. And that's a real thing, y'all. And I don't mix with them like that, so I don't have to personally deal with all that. but I done known white men for years. They the way they operate in life, they're just not men I want to deal with when I don't have to. I deal with them for money. You practically got to pay me to talk to a white man. Now, I'm not saying you do. I know some cool white people out there, but y'all be few and far between. I ain't gonna lie to you. Y'all be few and far between. So, you just about got to pay me to talk to a white man because I don't want to be involved with all the nonsense at the end of the day. So I ain't saying as a man you can't have no dignity. You have to have something to operate well in society. But I think what's going on with black men is just so beyond discipline that why you seeing these billionaires or people who are getting close to being that status being attacked, I don't think it has anything to do with their sexual discipline. Because again, I still don't even know what Diddy did wrong. I know what he got convicted for, but based on the information I got, he didn't do any of the things that's associated with trafficking. So why he get convicted? Cassie, if anybody should have been convicted, she was putting up her credit card out there saying, I'm buying this escort and that. Diddy ain't flew nobody in. Well, he ain't flew, he ain't bust nobody in and he ain't flew nobody out. So why he got a trafficking? It don't even make sense. But when you accept presentation more than information, I can see how we get there. But Floyd, you got the mic, my brother. Go ahead.
Thanks, Roger, for having me. Peace to the panel and chat. Trippy Tuesday, everybody.
Peace, peace,
Long
peace.
little bit of line steppers. Yay. Well, I want to kind of hit on what you were just saying, Roger. You kind of was throwing it around a little bit. I was like, damn, Roger trying to take my point again, man. As soon as I come up, shoot.
You had the best points. You had the best.
But I really think, though, there is a lot of PDA involved, man. I've seen it for years. I comment in the chat that, for me growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in, being harassed by the police officers. And when I was younger, under 18, I didn't know you couldn't fight the police. I thought you could fight anybody to put their hands on you, no matter who they were. I used to be flipping police officers all around and, get to a point where they got me in restraints, and you need one person. I know martial arts. You need 5, or you stay alive fucking around with me. Sorry, I'm sorry. I mean, cuss. But seeing that's what it was all about. I mean, they see these strong young black boys growing up, athletes, especially with the athlete. I got more harassment being an athlete than when I was just being a regular old, just going to school every day type of kid. If I hung around with the bad crowd, sporadically, get harassed in. But if I was all by my lonesome, never got harassed by myself, looking like a Kanye West with my khakis and my little shirt on. But the moment, like you said, presentation. The moment I presented myself like somebody from the NWA, oh yeah. The song F the Police is in my head because they pulling up and I see them on my peripheral. Or this dude over here. So I'm in a neighborhood where I'm going to see a chick. I might not have the intentions on doing anything with it, but it might happen. But I'm gonna land my plane with these couple topics, man. We dick control. We got to realize some things about ourselves. Where are we at in life, emotionally, intellectually, financially, spiritually, and who taught us those things? Me, myself, getting taught by males who kind of navigated me through who's a good chick, who's a fun time girl, and who's a long term girl. That kind of gave me a gauge. I didn't make the best decisions. Trust me. I went down the road of being married 3 times and to the same woman. But not the same woman, but the same likeness and image and the same thought processes. Not doing it no more. I'm glad I'm like tunnel runner. I'm on that path to tunnel runner status. I just got to get my T's crossed and my I's dotted. I'll land on plane there. Thanks, Roger, for having me up. I'll be here.
Hey, appreciate it, brother. Well, we got Harris Tubman up here. You know what I'm saying? He gonna lead us. He gonna lead us to the promised land.
Come on, Floyd. Come
I'm on the railroad with you.
Go ahead, Tunnel Runner. Go ahead.
I just tell him, come on with me. She say, "Wendy, yes, we can."
Hey, yes, we in Atlanta. We might need to have some lunch together so your girl can school my girl on a couple things. Rough out the edges.
Sounds good.
Perfect land. So perfect over there too. Slightly different. We're gonna follow Tunnel Runner to the perfect land.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh,
but
yeah.
but see, this is my thing. Yeah, discipline is going to be necessary. I'm never going to argue that. But I do think what's going on with Black American society when white folks get involved, I just don't have the idea that dick discipline can help you. Let's say Puff was not doing freak offs. Does Puff still go down for sexual trafficking? I do believe so. Now, and people can say, "Well, nah, how could he go down for sexual trafficking? What law did he break? If he went down for trafficking, and based on the information that came out, he ain't flew nobody out, he ain't bust nobody in, but the man is still got convicted of trafficking. How can you see that and think that even if he wasn't having freak offs, that he wasn't going down?
I
If
think
you
the
don't need
fact
the
that
law to take him down, what you need?
I think the fact that he was just watching, they tried to put that under the fact of he paid for sex workers. You know what I'm saying? So I don't. If he didn't get caught for that, the thing that they
So
wanted to get him, the thing that they was bothering him for, they would have had to let that be known publicly, and they wasn't going to do that. So I'm glad this happened to him because if that wasn't going to happen, they was going to kill him, man.
wait. You say because he was watching.
Yeah,
So they finna lock up all you OnlyFans niggas.
and I think the difference between Hugh Hefner and Puffy is Hugh Hefner was running a honeypot. You dig it? Hugh Hefner had shit on all of them cocksuckers in there. Because you know Cindy Crawford was underage when she was at the Playboy Mansion, right?
Yep.
They all were. They all
They
were.
all so
It was
everybody that
a
was
thing.
in that Playboy Mansion, he had them under his fist.
Listen,
Everybody dated. Everybody dated teenagers in the '90s. That was the thing. You know what I'm saying? Kamora Lee Simmons was a teenager. They all were. They all were teenagers. That was part of being a supermodel. You know what I mean? They started like at 12. They met these
That
men.
was
Yeah,
that was their casting couch.
yeah, 16, 17 is when they all Aaliyah, they all got married around six. But if you think about it, our grandmothers got married at 16. You know what I mean? So this just like the Mann Act was created to put us in a trick bag, this whole thing, and we the only ones that do it. I notice that a lot. Other races of men don't do this thing about age. They still get married at 16. You know, that movie producer, that's a lot of dudes on that side, and they don't get held to the same standard. Like and legally still in Mississippi and Arkansas, I think one of the states is 14. Mississippi is 16. You know what I'm saying? But we the only ones that hold that standard to us. Maybe when we talking about dick discipline today, maybe we talking about talking to each other. Because I see a lot of black men doing that to each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's I think that's poisonous. We do that a lot to pull each other down in that crab in the barrel syndrome. Are you dating somebody who's not to what standard? And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of standards for black men. She got to be this, she got to be that. Somebody earlier said she fat. I put in the chat BBW because some of us like, I don't use that term. I use BBW because I like them. But I'm just saying, like, we got all these standards. You know, she can't be a certain age, she can't be a certain height, she can't be a certain weight to be acceptable in our community. That's unique to us. And to the Diddy point, Diddy went through what he went through as a distraction.
Yes.
At the same time Diddy was going through what he was going through, there was another case that was dismissed. And we could go into it if y'all want, but that leads back into that whole myriad of stuff of the people who control the world. But there was another case. The CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch had the similar cases in the same mathematics or bones of the case, but he was able to get off. He said, I'm mentally not prepared to go to trial. So that while everybody was focused on Diddy and started seeing no Diddy instead of pause, they threw that white man case out. He had 20 years of philanthropy at Abercrombie and Fitch with male models. In that case just went away. So it was a way to distract the public and give them it's circus, bread and circus, right? So everybody was upset about SA, right? Coming into this administration. So they needed some lamb. Diddy was the lamb, you know what I'm saying? To feed the public so that you don't focus on the real people. And this has been true going back when we talk about us. So there is a penis envy, but there is a mathematics behind what they do. Like if we could keep them focused on King Kong, right, then they never look at us and what we doing behind closed doors because we got this big 50-foot gorilla that everybody should be afraid of. even though it's not true. As we talk about Diddy, it's not true. So it's farcical, right? This 50-foot gorilla doesn't exist, but it gives shadow and cover for what the white man does, right? And that's what everybody did with Diddy. They stopped looking over there. During that same time, the LA Archdiocese paid out $1 billion. And I said, how is one sector, one city got that kind of money? So how much money do they really got if just the LA Archdiocese paid out $1 billion during the Diddy trial? Like, how much money is they bringing in? What type of power is behind these people? And no one talked. So I believe Diddy was a distraction. At the end of the day, what we saw was about baby oil. It wasn't about real criminality. And we know that this criminality exists in America right now. But we're happy with the lamb.
And what my thing is, that's why it's just way too much on what's going on with black men. And like I say, I don't think if Diddy had a quote unquote better reputation, it would have mattered anyway. When they want you, they want you. And when they want you, they'll use anything. And if they don't have anything, they just make something up. And I think, far too many people are comfortable with that. Because I'm saying, as an American society, they push an ideal of something that's not true. They push this white supremacy idea. They want to make white superior. Now, they don't have the information to make white people superior, so what do? They just make stuff up. Now, at the end of the day, I'm not going to say one crime is worse than the other crime when you're talking about the same crimes. But I do understand that Diddy got convicted for trafficking, but they never said who he trafficked. How you traffic somebody with no car and no money involved, no plane involved? I understand Diddy got vehicles. Diddy vehicles wasn't involved. He kept himself very separated from what was going on. But he the one got convicted. And shout out to my main man, Tunnel Runner. He says, yeah, and this is him. He say, yesterday, Highlander. Let's go to the promised land. Now, he was the Highlander yesterday, so shout out to him for that. Appreciate that big time, brother. Appreciate that big time. And he dropped the $10.57, so shout out to him for the Trail Bentley tax. Appreciate it big time, brother. Appreciate it big time. Now, now this is my thing. I won't even necessarily call it a distraction, because a crime is a crime. Okay. Seeing that crimes are crimes, you're supposed to prosecute all the. Whoa. Hold on now. Hold on. Y'all, shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast, y'all. Okay, he said, reminder for my show request topic. Got you, sir. But y'all know what he did? He dropped 75 on that thing. Okay, he dropped 75 on that thing. Hey, that's the way to remind somebody, brother. I definitely got you. I don't know what these other dudes talking about, but I got you, brother.
We're gonna start talking about that right now.
No discipline.
Yeah, appreciate it.
No show discipline.
Yeah, we got you though. We definitely got you. You ain't got to worry about everybody else, but we got you. I
don't know about y'all. I'm like the Punisher. If you pay me, I'm showing up.
Hey, I'm saying. Well, I did mention I did used to charge people like $100 for a show topic, because I have to research whatever it is that they want me to talk about. So maybe that was his reason. Maybe he's just being a good brother at the end of the day, and he got it like that. Because there's some folks who just got it like that. So shout out to you either way. I definitely appreciate it. All right, now back to the subject at hand for today.
Roger, did he commit a crime? Because like you said, it wasn't no car, ain't no person. Cassie got a pardon, right? Like, what crime did he commit? Like,
that's what I'm totally unclear about.
He was messing with a bitch that was going to throw him under the bus. That's the crime he committed.
No. I'll tell you what the crime was. The crime was he didn't share that case of baby oil.
That dude, maybe he had pure baby oil. Maybe that's what the crime. His baby oil was too pure, or something.
Too pure and uncut.
I'm gonna tell you.
Point. to the baby oil point. So OJ was like the first trial that was televised, right? It goes down in history. This got to be the first like social media trial where it because when they used social media in a way that was never used before, like the OJ trial, when they came out and did that 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and everybody went ooh, and then they said freak off. I mean, we all of a certain age right now. We went to the Freaknik. We use that term. I never said freak off. I never heard of freak off. They coined the term and they created this boogeyman. They created this freak off 1,000 bottle baby oil boogeyman that took life in social media. So that's one thing to also remember about this trial, because where did freak off come from, and why is 1,000 bottles of baby oil even in all of our minds, right?
Well, I think the freak off thing came from Cassie's text messages, but the baby oil and the way they just slandered his image was just diabolical to where they was trying to so it doesn't matter what he did, we automatically thought he was guilty. You know what I mean? And that was just for the world. But like as far as the people in the urban realm, we was already looking at Diddy sideways just from his business practices as far as scamming people out of their royalties, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? So they got him at a good time because his image was already falling apart as far as the love that people had for Diddy. Because if Diddy had that 100% love like everybody used to have for him, I don't think they could have convicted him of that nonsense that they convicted him of.
Agreed.
And see, my thing is that I don't even see that what they convicted of as a legal thing, because again, they put the stuff down to the trafficking charge, but he ain't traffic nobody.
No, I think he will get overturned, because basically what happened is, as I said to my wife, it criminalized being a John and gave him time. So that sets a legal precedent. And what I said is, who are the Johns, right? So that's why this is going to come back up maybe behind closed doors, and they're going to redo this conviction, because the Johns and the people who purchase don't look like me and you, right? So they can't have the jails filled up with the people who actually purchased, because that's what they did. They set a precedent. And so those men are going to go behind those women in New York who thought they did something slick, to people who don't understand what really happened. Those men who run the world is going to go tap them girls on their shoulder and be like, nah. Y'all thought y'all was slick, trying to set a legal precedent so Johns go to jail. They not having that. They not.
I don't think he's legally. I don't think he legally went to jail. I'm emphasizing that. Now, shout out to Rael. What 697? Is this happening to me that I'm seeing all these numbers and stuff? Like, did y'all change y'all names? Like, I see names differently. Is that a me thing, or I don't know what's going on? Okay, but he said, yeah, it's gonna get overturned. I do believe it is. I do agree with him on that one. Now I'm also saying that if you send a John to jail, the real issue is the people who can afford to be a John.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Because people, a lot of people say a bunch of dumb stuff. What I'm saying, I don't be calling out other content creators, but a lot of people have these dumb thoughts about how all these black men are just paying for it and all this type. You gotta have money to pay for all this stuff. the women ain't out here for free. You know what I'm saying? Now I know the hose is cheap. The hose about $40. I get it, but if you are any type of legitimate prostitute, you know what I'm saying, you charging like $100 nowadays. Real talk, okay? Because if you ain't charging $100, you have literally screwing everybody. You know what I'm saying? When the price is cheap, you got to do a lot more performing at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And how you gonna live a certain lifestyle unless you're gonna have sex with 3 different guys every single day? I mean, you could do $100,000 a year if you sleep with 3 different guys every single day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is. I mean, there's time, there's stuff you got to factor in, bills got to be paid. You can't just be taking shorts on everything, and you can't be taking $25. You know what I'm saying? And be like, I ain't gonna worry about it this time. You can make it up next time. That stuff ain't real. So she got to make a living, and that's what a lot of guys don't factor in. She actually has to make a living. And for a prostitute to make a living, you gotta charge her something. I'm not telling you can't find a hoe that won't give it up for $40, but those are really not professionals at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Those are just hoes that's dealing with dudes trying to act like they something more than what they is. Not a professional.
But Roger, I only got $40.
You see, you got to deal with the hoes. Then you can't deal with no actual whores. You know what I'm saying? An actual whore gonna have to charge something.
You're not getting to the Playboy Mansion. That's what he's saying. You can't go to the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah, they ain't even think about you at no Playboy, man. You ain't even thought of. You know what I'm saying? Because those where the real hoes go. You know what I'm saying? Now the hoes is messing up for the whores. I say that. I'm pretty sure some guys who was going to actual professionals is just messing with hoes nowadays because it's just a little bit cheaper to deal with. But I mean, real talk. You got a bunch of white folks who don't like you. They will play with crimes and laws just to get you. I don't understand why the jury was dumb enough to convict P. Diddy in the first place, especially on stuff associated with trafficking, and he didn't pay for anybody. He made a whole issue of not paying with his company and not paying with his own personal money, but yet that man's convicted of trafficking. It literally makes no sense. But that's why I say you have to learn to pay attention to information, not just presentation. Because the way they presented Diddy, they presented him as if he committed a crime. When the information came out in the trial, nobody can point to the crime he actually committed.
And my thing is how is that illegal if it's legal for them to sell it? How is it illegal for me to buy it? Because where the whores at that he was buying or transporting, they were selling it. Why they ain't on trial?
I mean, heck, one dude, you know what I'm saying? They called the dude the Punisher. I think dude got like a book deal or something out of this.
He's suing Cassie. He's suing Cassie right now.
He's suing Cassie?
Yeah, the main dude is suing Cassie because Cassie had an ongoing. This is what I said. If imagine this scenario, you like to watch, right? In order to get off when you watch, what I propose is it has to be something worthy of watching, right? And if you know women can't create this thing that's worthy of watching unless it's somebody, even in the professional industry, what they tell you, I can't do a scene with him because I don't like him. I need to be attracted to him for the scene to be good. So Cassie cultivated relationships on the side to provide entertainment. So she had to have chemistry with these guys. The dude is suing her, saying that we had a relationship outside of this. And Cassie was in court. She threatened these men to keep them in line. She was the only one that technically paid people directly. She paid them. She brought them in. She would call Puff, hey, we ready. We at the spot. Come through. That was Cassie. Cassie was the queen pin. And if you go deeper, this is what I said. When Cassie came out on MySpace, she was a teenager. So when they make this thing up that Diddy took advantage of her, no, she was dating Ryan Leslie, who was 41 years old. Her parents had already sold her. This was an Aaliyah story. Her parents had sold her already. If you realize music, Roger was a rapper. When we saw that Me and You sexually promiscuous video, she was a teenager. But if you know anything about music, that wasn't made in one day. He cultivated her since probably she was 15 to get that presentation that we saw before 18. That means her parents sold her off at 15. She was dating a 41-year-old man when we first met her. This is her reality. And then she monkey branched up like we teach here to Puffy. And that's why in the trial it came out that her friend asked her, who else would you date? And she said, I'm already dating the top monkey. There's nobody else. Jay-Z is taken already. So there's a lot of stuff people don't know, but just like Aaliyah, her parents sold her early. If you know anything about music, that Me and You song that came out before 18 wasn't made in a day. Ryan Leslie was dating her teenager at 41. At 41, this is who she is. She's the queen pin.
And Diddy goes down. Ain't this? See, the more information that come out, the worse it gets at the end of the day. Because Diddy, based on what I know, this man is totally innocent of everything. There's nothing he did that you can convict him over, yet he got convicted. That's why I say, there's all types of problems with the legal system. And black men really want to start learning to stand up for themselves from a legal perspective, because we literally just watched the man get convicted, and I don't think there's anybody out there. I'm saying even lawyers and judges, I don't think they can point out to where the crime was.
Oh, mic check. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Salute.
Okay. There's something else going on that will never see the light of day because of HIPAA laws. But these Diddy parties have been tainting the pool, and I ain't gonna say no more until we get to Bible study, because I don't want to get your channel taken down.
I like that though. I like that.
Hey,
Hashtag taking the pool.
also, you gotta think about it too, yo. Diddy has had practice dick control because think about who his mentors were in the music game. Your Andre Harrells, your Heavy D's, Uptown Records. He's so Clive Davidson. So he's had experience on learning about dick control. So I think really because of this situation he's in, his hands are really clean. He, when my experience in the record industry, their ways stuff was taught to me to cover my ass. So if it ever did come back to bite me in the ass or try to, depending on who you pissed off, whether it would stick or not. And I really think that's the situation with Diddy. If somebody got pissed off that can make everything stick and give us this presentation of somewhat of a calamity. But also, whoever's making it stick is part of the gynocracy is not going to let the black woman take the fall.
Was Letitia James
also,
in charge of New York at that time?
Yeah, she the head of SDNY. She the head of SDNY. SDNY had this case, the R. Kelly case, and the Trump 36 felony case. So, that's why you'll see me celebrate Letitia James' indictment. I've been on her head the whole time. People don't know about SDNY. So that's the Southern District of New York. Shout out to Shark for being perceptive and knowing that.
Yeah, man.
But now, my thing is this: as a black man, you definitely got white men against you. You automatically gonna have white women against you because they're gonna roll with the white man. And you should be clear that black women are against you from a general standpoint. Now we're just talking general, okay? So that's why I'm saying now everybody has to practice some level of dick discipline. But what I'm also saying is I don't think black men practicing dick discipline stops us from racism at all, because if they don't have you, they'll just make it up. And I think people don't really get that. I mean, Diddy is in a made-up situation right now. He's in jail over a made-up situation. Diddy's trafficking people. Okay, Diddy's trafficking. Because we couldn't get him on the big stuff. So what did he do? Did he watch people who have sex? Okay, well, did he engage in the sex? Well, no, a lot of times he was just hiding in the corner. Okay, all right. Well, did he force somebody to have sex? No, it was his girlfriend having sex with an escort. Okay, cool. We gonna get him because Diddy shouldn't have paid for that. Well, Diddy didn't pay for that. Okay, well, his bad boy paid for it. His companies paid for it. Now his companies are clean. They ain't got no transaction involved in Cassie having sex with these other men. What it come? Did he arrange it? No, he ain't on the call logs. He ain't called nobody. He ain't set nothing up. Cassie did all that. Okay, then let's just get him for trafficking. Now, does that make any level of sense to anybody?
Not if Cassie not on trial either. It don't make no sense to me.
She got a partner.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Remember,
they're trying to get him.
Diddy didn't touch anything, yet he's the one convicted for trafficking. I'm talking like a guy trying to get Diddy. Okay, did he do this? Did he do this? And everything's no, he didn't do any of those things.
I mean, to your point, remember her husband ran out of the courtroom because he felt like everybody else felt that his wife had got taken advantage. When he heard what really happened, he started wondering, like, Roger, like, hold on, what really? You told me this man did this. You ain't testified to nothing.
This ain't nothing.
The whole demeanor changed. That demeanor changed. That's just like everyday normal husband wife stuff. You be with your husband or your wife say something and you find out it's it was a lie. You be looking at that broad like, oh, what the hell? But I can't testify against you. I could, but you my wife. But bro, I gotta take this L with you.
My thing is, it's got to be so much worse for him because this is what I'm going to assume. This is what I'm going to assume. Diddy is famous, therefore I'm going to have a serious talk with Cassie before we get married. Look, this is your time to tell me whatever you need to tell me, so it's not going to affect me later during this marriage. And Cassie told him whatever she wanted him to hear.
Right.
You know, so they had the
Right.
serious talk because Diddy's famous, so things could pop up. So we got to get this behind. I got to brace myself because if I want to do this thing with you and commit myself for life, I got to know what done went down. So just tell me now so I can see if I can deal with it. Now he done had that talk. He done had kids with everything. Now he goes to the courtroom with his wife was a supposed victim. Now, I'm sure he's paying attention to the testimony, unlike maybe even jurors are paying attention to the testimony, because now what he heard, he never heard about his wife was a victim at all.
And she 9 months pregnant with his baby, about to give birth.
Yo, perfect. He ran out the court because he realized he didn't practice dick discipline.
You know what? Shark.
Damn.
He because how did he come to have her? He was Cassie's trainer that Puffy hired.
Exactly.
So he was sleeping with her at the same time she was sleeping with Puffy, and he was cool with it. He thought he was the man. He thought he took Puffy woman. When he found out in court, it was the other way around.
And then to get into a Puffy
Folks,
party, all you
what's
need
the-
is 7 degrees of separation. You don't gotta know Puffy exact like Puffy, yo, what up? No, you just gotta know somebody that's going to the party. So I could believe that homeboy was at them parties too. And ain't nobody gonna tell me any different.
So he thought he was the
Trying to turn the
man.
whole
Mm-hmm.
right. I can turn a hoe to a housewife. I can do it.
No,
He slept with Diddy's woman and then married her and had kids. After being the side dude, he was the side dude. He accepted that role, but he didn't know that Cassie had a Rolodex of men. He thought she was just sleeping with Diddy, but when he found out about how she kept it stable in order to have these parties,
he thought he took her from Diddy. He really took her from hip hop.
It's just funny because I'm sitting there thinking about the conversation he must have had with her before he married her. And then he went to this trial. And I heard dude is white, so I thought he must have been on some, yeah, I'm that white man, but these niggas can't contend with me.
Listen, man, that dude was like, I thought you told me everything. She was like, no, baby, my throat got dry while I was talking.
When we didn't know about the Punisher. When this is the first time we heard about the Punisher. That would be cold.
Yeah. I just needed some water to tell you the rest, but you walked off. That's why you don't know about the Punisher. Come on, man.
I'm gonna say this real quick, then we gonna give it to Rael, who done came out. Shout out to the great pretender. He said, Roger, imagine that ride home with Cassie after Cassie testified. Boy, you could just imagine the stairs of death he had after this thing was over. I mean, shout out to Cassie. If she disappeared, we gonna kind of know what it is. So he can't really do it right now, you know. But Rael,
Do you think she got that? Think she got that? What do you call that? That pardon because she was a white man? If she wasn't a white man,
they
would
make
you
deals
think she
all
got
the
a pardon?
No, they make deals all the time with women so they can rat the men out. They do that all the
Yeah.
time. So
That's
that's nothing
a
new.
free trial condition. That's a free trial condition. They'll be like, we'll give you immunity if you help us get this guy. That's
Exactly.
what happened there.
Yeah. The women that always had a, like I say, they've always had a different relationship with law enforcement. I'm just gonna say law enforcement because I say the police, but they have always had a different, relationship with law enforcement than black men have had. Because they will let you get away with all types of stuff as long as you get us that nigga. Okay,
Yep.
just get that nigga for us, and we don't really care about what you did. We just want that nigga. But
Man,
let Rael get the floor, y'all. Let me let Rael get the floor because he done came up. Rael, you got it, brother.
Peace, Roger. Peace of the panel. Peace of the chat. You know, Um, this is why I tell guys, um, if you meet a chick and she's telling you how bad the previous guy was to her, leave her alone. Don't even deal with her because they will make themselves out. And this is a common strategy that many females use to get you to be interested in them. They'll play that damsel in distress role to the T, and you'll come in with your shy comforter cape on, and you know think that you need to be to her what the previous bad guy was to her. But the problem is that whether it was a year relationship or 5, she was dealing with that dude. She was dealing with him. And so if he was so bad, why was you with this guy for a year? Why was you with this guy for 5 years if he was such a bad guy? And typically something happens to where that particular female didn't get something that she thought she was supposed to be able to get. This is why you saw so many Me Too cases happen with a lot of these white females, was the fact that many of these females were promised roles in movies. If they came off the panties, then they didn't get the role. And I'm not saying that these white dudes wasn't out of pocket, because a lot of them just be on some silly stuff too. But they were willing to play the game. As far as like the cases, especially in New York, to keep in mind, they passed a certain law that made it okay to be retroactive to accusations in the past. I don't know if it's closed now. I think it's either closed or it's closing soon, where they were able to charge people beyond the statute of limitations. So that made it possible for them to go at Trump and Diddy and Weinstein and people like that. Matter of fact, the irony is that one of the black dudes in the state legislature in New York that supported that bill, he just got Me Too recently, I think in the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
He's saying,
He been bit in the ass.
Yeah, I don't want to laugh at him, but wow.
Yeah, he was one of those dudes that was like saying believe all women. He was one of those types. So, but now he got caught up. So again, like you got to separate the industry stuff from the regular street stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you meet a chick at Freak Meet, it's just smashing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? Industry level smashing is it's maneuvering and positioning. So you got to be very careful in that type of environment when you're in that particular lane, because if you a dude, especially who you smash, like, you don't know who she's connected to. She could be sent to you as a honeypot, a trap, to get information on you. I mean, all type of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? So they could have your office bugged or your trailer on a movie set bugged. Like, you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be extra cautious. You know what I'm saying? Regular stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is true, but it just seems like even when it comes to Future, like, he don't even deal with them industry chicks like that. Like, he'll go to Instagram before he really engage with them. I mean, he's had a couple of them, but he tend to be more on the basic level type stuff more than dealing with the industry level, because the industry level in terms of the sex, that's way more pernicious, man. There's a whole lot more that goes along with it. And even going back to Emmanuel Doku's situation, like, you got to understand, like, when you in certain lanes, you got to move. Because the reason why it's so dangerous for black men is because there's so much intimidation from a lot of these other dudes when it comes to us. So we already come through the door them feeling intimidated. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, if you got a good look about you, you know what I'm saying, like, that can cross over to these other groups, like, they be on notice. And you got to keep that into consideration. Like as much as we don't even be thinking about it like that, you know what I'm saying? We don't typically think you don't really see black dudes like, man, they smashing these black chicks. Like dudes be like, shit, they want to be on that shit. Let them. It ain't my chick. But they really be feeling some kind of way. So you got to make sure you keep that in mind, especially from the industry particular perspective, because a lot of times the industry knows how to use your weaknesses as a weapon against you. So if you one of them type of dudes that just you constantly trying to get that validation through smashing all these chicks all the time, they'll use that against you. Just like they use that Michael Jackson stuff against. Somebody need to leave it up. They're just like they used that Michael Jackson was very much. He missed a lot of his childhood, and so he liked to, do a lot of stuff, children, and but they used that against him
Yeah, we
to paint a
heard.
picture against him. You know what I'm saying? To paint. Well, I don't believe that MJ was on none of that stuff, so I'm not gonna say that about him. So, but they used that. They used that because Mike was making certain moves in terms of catalogs because I didn't even know he had bought. I think Eminem had like he had like kind of cracked some jokes against him or something, and he ended up buying Eminem's catalog, and I didn't even know that. I didn't find that out until recently. But he bought the Beatles catalog too, so they were looking at him as like a threat in terms of power because he started understanding how to play the game. And so that's when you start really seeing a lot of the stuff come in his direction once he started realizing how to play the game, just like you saw with Shannon with the chick. And we don't even know she could have been a setup too. So you just got to really, it's not even about the sexual discipline as far as like not smashing all these chicks. Is that who are you bringing into your life, and how are you vetting them when they come into your life? That's really more of the discipline aspect of it, more than the sexual part, even though the sexual part plays a big part of it. But it's like, how are you vetting these people once you start getting to a certain level of success? Because a lot of times you don't know that, man, sometimes, man, they send an enemy to you in the form of an attractive female.
Thank you, Ryle, for putting it so eloquently for me. Because they had their foot on my neck, back, chest, ears, forehead, everything yesterday. But you put it in, you put it together dopely for me. I appreciate that,
I
Ryle.
don't know. I don't know if that's
No doubt.
not. I didn't hear everything, but I'm just gonna say I heard some I heard some songs being read. There was obviously something going on with the Book of Revelation. And I do believe Genesis came up, but I don't think it was rough. I don't think it was that rough. I ain't hear everything, but I don't think it was. I ain't gonna say nothing, but I don't think it was that rough. But hey, we all got our own opinion. But I think Rael is making a great point about the ones who get sent to you, and I honestly think Future being a wiser rapper than people realize, it might have something to do with why he's going after cheap hoes in comparison. Because if you think about what type of money he's in, the type of rooms he can get into, he going to Instagram and whatnot, and he probably paying them less than what they want. At the end of the day, y'all got to think about how women move.
Mm-hmm.
You want some big money, but I'm a big name. You want to have sex with me anyway. Here, go and take this $2,000 and call it a day. He probably doing that 9 times out of 10. I understand these women out here. Yeah, I charge $10,000. If you know these women, bro, they be, you can negotiate. I'm gonna say that you in the power position because you the person spending the money. You can definitely negotiate. Real talk.
Knock on
Yeah.
wood. You never heard anything happening with Drake because they say they in the streets. They say you can't even talk to Drake unless you signing that NDA. It ain't nothing going on unless you signing that paper.
Yeah.
You know what? If I was rich and famous like that, I'd probably do the same thing. I don't even want to talk to her, man. Did she sound to me? That sounds very convenient. Real talk. So I probably do the same thing. If I ever get that big, you know what I'm saying? I'm probably going to do the same thing. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't that serious for me to meet you. You know what I'm saying? I done had a whole life without you. It ain't that serious for me to meet you. I'll be all right. Okay.
I mean, unless you talking to a woman that's a virgin, unless it's a you engaged to be married to a particular female. I mean, for all intents and purposes, man, you paying for ass, dog. I mean, you just it's no matter how you try to slice and dice it, you paying. You taking them out, you spending money on any kind of level to get access. For all intents and purposes, man, that is prostitution. And I think that a lot of dudes, that we've seen, a lot of these dudes in the industry, like that table flip. You know what I'm saying with that Me Too stuff, because a lot of these dudes, man, you making 20 million a year. Man, throw that chick 10 grand, bro. It's the price of doing business, dog. But if you just be on some like, oh, she ought to be glad to have a chance with me. If you come with that kind of mentality, see, that's a female type mentality. A man understands the game. And once you understand the game, you ain't getting, a lot of these dudes, they ain't getting no chick off of no mouthpiece game because they ain't got it like that. They got money, but they ain't got the game like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Future, yeah, he gonna get it off of just Future. You know what I'm saying? Because that's some old hip hop shit. But a lot of these dudes that's in a different position, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like when you used to see, like Lil Wayne when he used to be on ESPN. And, he talk about like, man, how them chicks used to, man, you could, the females that used to be on the set, you see how differently they changed their look with Lil Wayne. And this is Lil Wayne. It ain't much to look at. But you see how different they posture themselves. They posture themselves like, oh yeah, he can get it like that. You know what I'm saying? But they wasn't doing that stuff before. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't doing that for Stephen A. You know what I'm saying? For Skip Bayless. You know what I'm saying? So you understand, like, you need people to show you the game. Like, look, this is the game. This is how you got to play it. I know you think you just supposed to be able to smash on these chokeholds and that just be it, but you in a different stratosphere. Money is a part of it. Now, it ain't saying you go broke over it, but you just got to make sure, like, you keep money over here allocated for that particular endeavor, and you hit them off with what they need, and you go on about your business. But if you come in there with that, like, I'm worth $1 billion, and I'm gonna buy this chick a bowl of Chipotle. All right, dog. Okay. All right, dog. And she know your money.
I
She know
want
what your money
I want
is.
to make sure I want to make
Woo.
sure I heard this clearly. If you're a millionaire, to break this chick off with about 10 grand to sleep with her, is that correct?
I gave a certain number. I gave a certain
Yeah,
number just to prove a
cut his
point.
mic off, Roger. Cut his mic off.
I gave him a certain because because
No.
because what I'm saying to you is you ain't paying for the sex, man. You paying for a problem not to come to you. That's what you paying for. When you
Amen.
at a certain level, dog. If this if you like this thing with black men thinking that
Well,
we
maybe
so
Diddy should have paid.
hold on. That's what I'm not saying because he paid Cassie $100 million. He paid. He did. Now, what if he would have just threw her $5 million in the beginning and let it be that, and boom, NDA? He might not have had that problem because he would have hit her off with 5 instead of 100 because he paid, didn't he? He paid, didn't he? Yeah, he did. But at the end of the day, we know from his own track record that nigga didn't even want to pay his own goddamn artist. Right?
You got to pay hush money if you want stuff to stay hush.
That's my point, dog.
You know,
That's my
so
But he
point.
paid her.
yeah, no, I'm
He
saying
paid her.
I'm back with you on that.
Forced to pay her though. That's my point. He was forced to pay her. Is Cassie worth $100 million? Man, that pussy ain't worth no $100 million. Nigga, you crazy? It ain't even worth. It ain't worth $5 million. I'm saying when you got the money, you pay the cost to be the boss though. That's my point. You understand that it's a part of the game. You're not paying because you got the access. You paying so there won't be no problems in the future. You know what I'm saying? Because when if she try to come with something later, all you got to do is show them like, man, we had an understanding.
Yeah.
What y'all talking about? This is the money. She gets this money from me. What you talking about? I paid her good. What she gonna say then? She can't say nothing. But if you come out there with that, like I said, we see the arrogance that he had. We saw how he was doing his artists. He was jerking them. You know what I'm saying? Well, it makes sense now that you finally you got that payback on your ass. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, dudes, especially black men, this is one of his biggest problems, is that they don't understand that the rules at Freaknik ain't the rules in the industry and at a higher level. It's not the same rule set. It's different. And you got to move accordingly. Shannon thought the same thing. He thought the same rules applied just because it was OnlyFans. But no, this chick know what you're going for. Reports out here talking about you about to get $100 million deal. Like, people are seeing your money. And when people start seeing your money, that's what, I mean, people talk about this with top executives and CEOs of companies, stuff like this all the time. Like, people coming with frivolous lawsuits all the time. And you got to be prepared to stave that type of stuff off, set stuff up in the beginning, so later on, it ain't no issue later on because of how shit might go down.
Yeah, and this is the thing, when your money is made public, this is what it is. You have people who don't know about money already counting your money.
Thank
and
you.
them people can create all kinds of problems. A lot of time it's people family members, because okay, you got $100 million deal. Your family members thinking you got $100 million. Now they ain't even accounting for taxes and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? They just, nigga, all I need is 50,000 off you. You tripping. You know what I'm saying? Because they think you got $100 million sitting in the bank account somewhere, because they ain't even thought about what you got to go through when it comes to that money, or any taxes before anything else happen, or how you gonna have to put the money through something to try to offset that. They ain't thought about none of that. They ain't thought about the accountant you paying to make sure your money stay good. They just know they want 50 grand. We supposed to, because and I can't get the 50 grand. You sitting there with $100 million. Nigga, you terrible. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff can get misconstrued.
Now you got your little cousin trying to set you up with her homegirl, so her and her homegirl can get the bread out you. It's just like Ryan said, it's real.
Niggas be moving goofy, bro.
I vehemently disagree with that, brother, because giving people money, you would think that it would cause them to have gratitude. It doesn't. It causes them to be entitled.
No,
that's what a woman
you
too.
don't even give them the money. It's even worse.
Yeah, well, you know, my thing
if
is,
your own family will react to you like that, this is your blood, or these are your blood relatives, and they will try to scheme on you for money. What makes you think that average Joe Blow motherfucker ain't gonna do that shit?
That's why I'm saying paying them ain't gonna stop the problem. Just
No.
paying Cassie didn't stop the problem.
Yeah.
He didn't pay Cassie.
No. Did he pay
He was
Cassie, and he's still
forced
in
to
jail
pay
right
him.
now? He's still
He
in jail
paid
right now.
He paid Cassie prior to the trial.
his big payment of Cassie's.
Hold on, Roger. They had a civil case before this criminal trial happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was Cassie. She made some public accusations against him. He settled out of court. He settled in terms of because it was a civil complaint.
Civilly.
Okay, it was not a criminal complaint. He settled, and it went away with that. That's outside of the government bringing a case against him. You know what I'm saying? That's outside of that. Okay?
But look.
So that's different.
But she still testified against him after she got paid.
Yeah, because she testified against him because there was a settlement, and she got subpoenaed as a witness based on the other stuff. Just because she settled with him does not mean she don't have to testify in a criminal case that the feds bring.
Yeah, she can come in there and plead the fifth.
No, if she would have lied, she would have got caught on perjury.
This would happen.
No, you come in there and plead the fifth.
No,
I don't recall.
No, they would have took.
She can't plead the fifth because she's not under investigation, but she can't plead the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The fifth is about you not incriminating yourself.
That's about recrimination, dog. What you talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what it is.
Well, you bringing up plead the fifth in the wrong context, then.
Yeah, you are.
Now, I think he's saying something. I think I've just picked up on what he landed.
brothers, y'all need to understand guy named called Simmons? What's his name? Russell Simmons. When he heard about stuff going down, got the hell on, and
He
he still
bounced.
has his money.
Bali land.
He bounced.
Well, I'm gonna say, as a black man in this society, you got to understand. If you did something wrong, they have something to get you on. If you didn't do anything wrong, they'll just have people conspire against you at the end of the day. You don't actually have to do anything. That's why I was saying, and my basic point, because I'm never going to promote black men not have this dick discipline, but my basic point is it will not save you from racism, because you don't need to do anything wrong.
Well, ain't nothing gonna save you. Ain't nothing gonna save you from racism, Roger.
Well, I do want people to have an understanding of that it's impossible because they just make it up. It's plenty of cases that black men have either been killed, just in the field out there somewhere, been killed by the court system. I'm talking about capital punishment, or done spent decades in prison over stuff they just made up. So I'm just saying, I don't think a black man practicing sexual discipline will have any effect on anything going on with him when you start involving court systems.
Roger,
You
let
can
me ask you a
use it
question.
against
Let
a
me ask you a
black
question.
man, but it's not going to change nothing.
Let me ask you a question. At your age right now, in this type of environment, are you going to smash a chick on your job?
No, I think jobs and chicks should be very much separated.
Dick discipline.
How many
Me
dudes,
too.
how many
Big
dudes
discipline.
on this panel? How many dudes on this panel right now? The type of chick you want, she trying to drop it for you. You gonna smash it?
Nah.
On the
Nah, if
job,
we work,
I had that principle. I had that principle at 19 years old not to do that. 19 and saved my life later on.
nah,
No,
I have hit chicks on the job where I work, and then things haven't been explained to me. If I'm at the same spot you in, if you associated with where I worked, if I'm working the job and you just simply you don't even got to work for the same company. Because I done did a lot of stuff, y'all. So I've done stuff where you got multiple companies just handling the same events. If you associated, I ain't touching you. That's real talk. Because I done heard way too much stuff about way too many men that done fail over some chick saying something at some point in time. And the thing is, ain't nothing ever been proven, but we just want to have a quote unquote good work environment, blah, blah, blah. And it's always the niggas going down. I'm gonna say that. It's always the niggas going down. It ain't the women. The women keep their jobs. The niggas be going down.
And that's all I was trying to relate to y'all yesterday is that specific thing right there.
Yep.
You just nailed it.
And I'm saying this, y'all, in the context that I understand we are black men, but when our livelihood is put in other people's hands, we niggas all of a sudden, and the niggas go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, let's take it a little further, right? Say you have met a chick on the job. I mean, I'm giving you my scenario. Met a chick on the job, which I kind of have forgot the rule that Rael had as well. Pretty much finagle our whole life together. Get cars, get townhouse, and something go wrong with me on the job. She's making more money than me. I get hurt. She brings up the fact that I make more, we're not doing this, we can't do that, we can't do this, but you make more money than me. Now there's little rumors coming out around the job, but because of my work ethic and what I do at work, everybody knows this is a 50-50 story. They got to get both sides. And I had to sit down, and at the end of the day, I thought about it. I said, God darn it, Floyd, you broke your own rule. You don't date nobody you work with. So now I got to come up with this magnificent plan to work my way up out this BS. Let me give her what she wants. Let me self-sabotage myself.
Yeah.
So I'll take this L. I'll look like the whole asshole, but I'm free of this chick at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I will never violate that rule again.
Hey,
you got lucky. You got lucky.
But three times in 30 years. I mean, 30 years of working, bro. It's happened 3 times. Three times in 30 years ain't a bad average. But this shit ain't gonna happen no more.
Boy, I'm telling you.
I promise
Hey,
that.
was she bad though? Was she bad? I know she was bad.
Yeah, she was bad. We went to, only thing I didn't agree with her trying to go to be in her 40s, want to go to Dr. Miami and get a bigger booty. That's just
Oh,
attracting more to flies that
oh,
I got to contend with.
See.
wait a
So
minute.
I got to keep your ass alive for 3
Yeah,
days, according to the doctor.
I might give you a pass if she had BBL, brother. You didn't
Nah,
do
bro.
nothing wrong. You didn't do nothing wrong,
I
brother.
told you.
All this conversation and
I
perfect
told
timing gonna make us into it. Was she bad though?
You hear me?
Robert, that's why I said that the type of chick you want. She right in your face on that job, and she ready to bust it down for you.
Yeah, I ain't touching.
That's why I was hesitation. That's why niggas hesitated.
Yeah. That's a beautiful scenario.
It happened to me. It happened to
Yo,
me.
But
yeah,
I'm saying
It
there
happened
shouldn't
to
be
me.
no hesitation. That's a problem.
Nigga start stuttering, boy. Nigga start stuttering, man.
I was stuttering. I
well,
was stuttering. And
What? Well,
before,
I'm
man.
closing this out. I'm just gonna say what happened to me. I done did that back in the day, and I learned a lot of stuff about what done happened with dudes and the chick at work. And I'm telling you, I can't even think of one time where all of a sudden all the black men was just niggas, and the niggas got let go. You know what I'm saying? The women kept jobs. They talked about job environments and all. I done talked to many men about this, y'all. That's just something I don't play with no more. I did back when I was younger, and I ain't know the game like I know the game now. But man, I started finding all types of stories about what some guy did with some chick at the job, and it don't make no difference how he felt about the woman. It's dudes that got let go, and it was his girlfriend. Okay, some dude got let go, and it was his fiance. If you out there, he talking about he gonna marry the chick, and the fiance got let go. Man, I can't mess with that, y'all. So I'm gonna just say, y'all be careful out there. Real talk.
The military, even the military, look down on that fraternization, man. Even the military.
I done seen many a good brother go down because of that, man. Many. The
Yeah,
best of them.
yeah.
Tell Django, you know.
I'm
Tell
a, y'all be careful out there. I'm gonna advise against it, y'all. It ain't worth the stuff that I heard men done been through. It just ain't worth it at the end of the day. You know,
Remember,
It's not.
remember Samson.
Goddamn right.
don't let them cut your hair out there, y'all. But I got to bring this to a close because I got to get out of here. And I don't want to keep these brothers. I know some of these brothers itching to get the Bible study. So,
Let's get there.
so y'all have a great day. We're gonna praise the Lord backstage. We're gonna praise the Lord. Y'all have a good day. I hope you learned something. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right, and I'm out.
Hey, when Facebook
Yeah.
y'all